Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the live commentary of the fifth penultimate game of the match between Grandmasters Felix Blohberger and David Navara. I'm Alex Colovic, and today I'm joined by a best-selling author, FIDE master, and a business consultant, Michiel Abeln. Michiel, welcome.
Thank you, Alex. How are you today?
Yeah, feeling good, yeah, and looking forward to a great game because yesterday what we've got was wow, a mind-bogglingly complex game when both sides missed their chances. Yeah, if we have the same today, well, it will be a good ride. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about that they'll continue the fight. And yeah, yesterday was an amazing game. It's one of those games you still remember in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you don't get four queens that often, do you?
No, and before they're on the board, you start calculating all those lines. And with an engine, it's easy, but if you're behind the board, it's really difficult.
No, it's difficult, and I remember chat was also kind of being thankful that we don't use engines, so they could actually see us struggle, even though we can make moves at the board, but we actually struggle to figure out what's going on, and then they can really understand what the grandmasters are actually struggling with at the board,
Yeah.
and they're thinking themselves. So chess is a hard game, yeah, as we like to say.
It's a very hard game. And I mean, the day before, David lost.
Yeah,
And normally what you see then is that after someone loses, is that in the next game they try to go for a quick kill. And
yeah.
if that doesn't work, then they run out of steam and they are at the risk of losing again. And
Yeah.
actually, I was very impressed how David maintained his energy all the way till the end yesterday, because he could have lost
Yeah,
easily in those complications,
yeah.
but he went on and on.
Yeah, he put up the pressure. He was just kept putting the pressure, and he was also winning at some point, even though it was super complicated.
Yeah.
Well, losing was also super complicated, and yeah, I mean, okay, he is an elite player, so they're used to doing this type of thing. But I also think today will be very interesting to see. I mean, apart from the opening phase, because so far Felix had been playing knight f3 and then d4, transposing to mainstream d4 openings. And now, like how David will approach this, because is he gonna leave it for the last game to equalize maybe the score with the white pieces, or is he going to try to sharpen things up with black as well? It will be an interesting to see the strategy he will choose, and we will see this quite quickly, I think, based on the opening choice.
Yeah, my prediction would be, Alex, that David will sharpen the game, just
Uh-huh.
like he did yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Not even so much because he's a point behind, but basically because he realized that if he doesn't sharpen things up, he's playing into Felix' strengths.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
that's been clear from the first couple of games.
Yeah, good point, good point. Especially the game he lost, because that one was really another amazing game, which in
Yeah.
the Felix successfully steered the game away from the complications, and then when we got to the technical phase, it was kind of really Felix showed his strengths, and David couldn't hold what objectively was a drawn endgame at the beginning.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes perfect sense. That okay, he will try to stir up some trouble, and I think, I mean, this reminds me. Normally, people try to don't risk so much with black, but okay, first, this is a training match. Okay, I mean, yes, it counts for rating, but it's after all a training match. And second, it reminds me of actually the only example I can think from modern history, at least, that Kramnik tried to do that in his match against Leko in the penultimate game. He was black and he played the Benoni,
Yeah.
trying to equalize the score with black. Yeah, okay, he got close. Yeah, I think he was winning in that rook end game. He missed it, and then okay, he won the last one with white. But ever since then, I don't remember people in matches actually risking so much with black, and this will be something interesting to see if we see it. Even though I don't expect the Benoni, we had it yesterday with reverse colors, but after knight f3 by Felix, it's gonna be harder to get. Yeah, even though yesterday we got knight f3 and Reti getting to a reverse Benoni, but this time probably less likely.
Now, I know David plays many different openings, but I wouldn't be completely surprised if he goes for a Greenfeld today.
Could be, but then yeah, Greenfield is always a good choice. Okay, no Greenfield.
Ah,
Okay, that was it. That was it.
So much for my prediction. At
Yeah,
least,
so much for so
at
much
least
for
I
the
made it in
Nova.
time. But
Yeah, so much. But okay, we're gonna see a repeat of the Ragozin, or we're gonna see. Okay, Ragozin was in game one. It went well for David there.
yeah.
But let's see if he goes for the same or he goes for something else. Okay, Ragozin again. All right. But now the Ragozin is that, I mean, I don't think it will happen because both players are actually fighting and want to fight, but there are some drawing lines here. So let's
But
see.
I assume you're all aware that Felix actually made a course under Ragozin for the black side, huh?
Yeah. So I mean, he knows his stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But here we have a
Yeah, he will take on f6, right?
yeah, take on f6 because bishop h6, h4 is dangerous. After dc4, you don't get enough compensation. And here you can get some drawing lines, but again, I don't expect them to occur on the board because, like I said, I think both players are here to fight a training match. And I think from Felix's point of view, because this match is played with the intention for him to get high-level training against elite opposition, with the aim to get to 2600. So every game actually is a learning and training opportunity. So I think he wouldn't just neglect an opportunity to have a good game against a very strong opponent.
True. No, and in general, I talked to Felix quite a lot on chess. I also had I was in contact with him during this match after each game, and Felix is never in for quick draws. He always wants to fight.
Yeah.
People may think otherwise because he's such a strategic player,
Oh,
but it's never with the idea to make a quick draw. He always wants to go for it and play the position.
yeah, and that's the only way forward. If you look at it, I mean, you can't progress if you make quick draws or you just play for a draw. Makes no sense. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, so we get okay. Ragozin, but without the queen a4 check, which would force knight c6. So he went for e3 directly, short castle. And now, okay, rook c1, bishop d3. I guess there are some moves here. Let's see what he goes for. I would assume both players are pretty well prepared. I mean, we had the Ragozin in round in game one, so Felix obviously deviates, like chooses another line, and okay, the opening worked well for David, so he repeats it. So okay,
I think this position is about both sides trying to either take or prevent taking on c4 before the bishop on f1 moves, right?
yeah, not to lose the tempo, the fight for a
Yeah.
tempo. Bishop d3, dc4 would be good for black because he gets a tempo and continues with c5 and so forth. Whereas white wants to wait and take in one go on c4 if possible.
Although nowadays, Alex, I don't know if you have the same feeling. Whenever I have these type of thoughts, I'm telling myself, well, maybe I'm an old guy. Maybe this is the old days, and the engine will tell me the opposite.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. Okay, knight c6. Okay, this indicates that black will actually at some point take on c4, drop the bishop back to d6, and go for the e5 plan, the typical Ragozin plan.
Yeah.
The other idea was to take and go like something like c5, rook d8, and so on. But this is, I would say, a more fighting plan because it's leads to, I mean, more unbalanced positions after dc4, bishop d6, c5. We won't get the symmetrical structure, which we could get in dc c5 lines. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's now an option for white to take on d5 and play bishop e2 and claim that the knight on c6 is misplaced.
Yes, that's an alternative. You get the Carlsbad structure with a knight, somewhat awkward knight on c6. But Ragozin players are usually saying that, okay, I have my dull knight on c6, but at least you got my bishop opened. So they argue that, okay, it's an acceptable trade-off. So still preparation, still theory, I would say. So we'll see how deep this goes, yeah? Because both players haven't really spent much time on their moves. Okay, now Felix is thinking.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising that he's thinking already. That tells me that he is still surprised a bit about that he didn't expect necessarily this. Of course, he's prepared. He's looked at this before,
Yeah.
but maybe he thought something else would happen.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's the problem with modern preparation, because practically all strong players play everything. And it's kind of also becomes a guessing game, because I don't know, if your opponent plays, I don't know, Ragozin, Queen's Gambit Decline, Nimzo, Grunfeld, like 4 or 5 major openings, you can't really revise everything with
Yeah,
the same amount of detail. And that inevitably means that if you haven't revised exactly the line that happened on the board, you will struggle with the recall.
yeah.
So it's some kind of, you expect, you assign probability that something is more likely to happen than something else, and then you study maybe that in greater detail, and for the rest, okay, you just have some idea, maybe not, don't remember so well, and you hope it doesn't happen. Yeah.
But also, psychologically, what's happening here is quite interesting, because if I go back to my prediction, Alex, I
Uh-huh.
said maybe Greenfield.
Yeah.
If I reflect on that,
Yeah.
it tells me that David, with all his experience, is probably a bit more patient than I was. I'm thinking like 2 more games, I need to put the pressure on.
Yeah.
Yeah. David, very mature, very experienced, thinks, well, let's first see. I still have 2 games. I have a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's just play. And let's not push right from the start.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I think what you have now is something, I don't know if you've experienced this yourself, is that with white, you're in a position you know very well, but you have several options
Yeah.
that you know are okay. And actually, when you look back after the game, you
Yeah.
think that was a problem. If I knew only one way to play, it would
Yeah.
have been
Then
much
it seems
easier.
exactly. Yeah. 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 I think this was a major problem for Garry Kasparov. He said it himself that when he was playing in his time, he often at the board had this problem because he had so many ideas that he had looked at, and he had problems deciding which one to use in that particular moment against that particular opponent.
Yeah.
So he was, even though he was, we know, super well prepared, he would still think quite some time, spend some time in the opening deciding on which idea to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is yeah, as you say, it doesn't happen to everybody, especially people who have, let's say, more limited repertoires, or like always play the same, or what it is, they don't bother with those type of problems. But people who work on openings, who are creative, they have different ideas, they often have this problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, for example, I don't know if he's thinking already about a3, because then is he forcing bishop c3? Yeah, because the bishop goes back, maybe c5 can follow, and dropping back to e7 is a bit awkward. And I don't know if the game can actually become very concrete like this, and e5. So I'm not sure if this is theory, to be honest, but it's
I
a
think it
logical
is.
continuation of
Yeah.
the Rogozin main idea, push e5. Yeah, and now let's say, I mean, it can lead to like simplifications like this, which would likely lead to a draw. This is quite equal. And so that's one option, going a3, I suppose.
Yeah.
Another one is, as you mentioned, Michiel takes and now play the Carlsbad, maybe
Yeah.
bishop e2, yeah, bishop, yeah, castle, and claim that this knight is a bit awkward, even though I guess black can immediately reroute it like this and establish the Carlsbad structure, and bishop drops back and game goes on. And I don't know, a third option, it would be, I guess, to decide that, okay, I can't win the battle for tempo and go bishop d3 immediately, and then yeah, and that's what he did actually. He went bishop e2 instead of bishop d3.
Yeah.
I don't know if this adds an additional idea after d4, because the bishop is not attacked. If he can somehow, I don't know, maybe I have an id2, but I don't think this is, I mean, I don't know if it's an idea or not. It also probably a pawn sacrifice, maybe, I don't know, takes, b5. I don't know if you can take with a rook, because then b5, b3 maybe. And the knight is pinned, so maybe you regain the pawn.
Yeah, this looks great for white, huh?
I don't know if knight d2 is an option, to be honest. I mean, I guess, okay, black can still go e5 and probably be fine. Even though here, I mean, knight d4 ideas, maybe d5, knight there, maybe knight d4 now, or I don't know, there is queen g6, so not sure. Yeah, kind of, maybe just take, I don't know, maybe not knight d4. Rook d8, maybe e4. Okay, this I guess it's playable for both sides, yeah?
It feels like white is short of 1 or 2 tempi.
Yeah, exactly. You want to have castle already, maybe g3, yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been much better, but now I'm sure black has sufficient play.
Yeah, I mean, knight f4, c6, they're all like options, so... Yeah, I mean, again, this knight d2, I'm not sure if it's an idea or not. We will soon see, depending what David does. I mean, he's not obviously forced neither to take on c4 nor on c3. He can go move like rook d8 is sensible, let's say.
Yeah, it's a very typical Ragozin move. Huh?
Exactly, yeah, and then we want to take, and then the rook is kind of well placed on the d file. But already, I mean, okay, they started thinking for a bit longer. So we will see how it goes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, taking on c4 has to be... there can nothing be wrong with taking on c4, right?
No, I would assume it's a theoretical position still. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not consulting a database during the stream. Maybe I could, but okay.
No, I think I don't see the chat yet. Maybe...
No, chat is here. And okay, maybe chat can tell us more if they can consult the database. Okay.
Or maybe they can consult Felix course.
Yeah, maybe Felix course. Yeah, exactly. And okay, we have a comment that this is a very technical position. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a technical, maybe it's not most exact term, but it is an opening position where you have subtleties and like you have to like many options as well. And I mean, basically what the players are playing as, I'm pretty sure they still know the theory, but they're selecting from the options. Yeah. They're trying to recall exactly what they were looking at.
Is there anything I need to do to see the chat or?
No, I mean, I can actually send you the link.
Yeah.
But maybe Emilia, can you please do that? I don't want to mess up the setup, okay? I mean, for the... Yeah, okay, thanks. All right.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Yeah, okay, thinking now.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay, he took on c4. Okay, one of the moves we suggested. And now, okay, the question is if knight d2 is an idea or not, because I can't see any additional kind of gain from having the bishop on e2 rather than on d3, except for the fact that it's not attacked on d3. So now white can make another move except for taking. Obviously, castling is possible. Yeah, and to postpone the capture on c4. That also gives some knight e4 ideas to white. I mean, definitely bishop e2 in this respect is better than bishop d3 because it gives white more flexibilities. With the bishop on d3, you're forced to take because the bishop is hanging. But here you can do other things. It's a different question how good they are, but at least you have the option.
Yeah, I think in considering the match situation, I would take back on c4, and I would, if it equalizes quickly, so be it. but sacrificing the pawn on c4. He played
There
it.
you
Yeah,
go. So he took
I
on
was
C4.
about to say sacrificing the pawn on c4 without deep prep felt a bit too much.
Yeah. It's perhaps a risk too big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically now we have no difference between two. So now okay. We expect maybe either rook d8 immediately or e5, because that's the main idea of the Rogozin, to push e5 and liberate the bishop on c8. So we need to see like in which manner Black will employ this idea. I don't know if, I mean, I'm kind of suspicious, but let's say, I mean, going for c5 here with like something like, let's say, knight a5, bishop drops back and c5. I don't think it's, I mean, feels off. Yeah, knight on a5 and feels off, but I don't know. Let's say castle stakes. And okay. Again, I would expect this to be probably analyzed, if not theory. But okay, maybe knight, but maybe bishop d7, knight drops back, rook d8. Maybe Black is in time. I don't know. It kind of looks strange, but yeah, if we make some moves.
This feels already a lot better for white.
Yeah, it feels like, but these positions are always like 1 or 2 tempi away. I mean, Black consolidates like knight drops back, rook is somewhere, and they are fine. So
Yeah.
some urgency there is here for white. I don't know.
No, yeah.
Maybe some tricks. I don't know if some tricks happen here, like I attack the knight and there is bishop h7.
No.
I don't know. Okay, I don't really expect it because it feels odd. Yeah, but main plan should be like rook d8 or e5 immediately. So
I was wondering, Alex, if the Ragozin is slowly becoming the new Nimzo. So
yeah,
when I was growing up, no one played the Ragozin, but
no,
Nimzo has always had a very good reputation. Yeah, maybe a strong weapon for Black actually if you want to play for a win, because many pawn structures white takes some risk,
yeah,
get the pair of bishops with double c pawns, etc. The problem was always with Black that if white would go knight f3 and you
yeah,
play queen's Indian, it's much harder to equalize, and let alone to play for a win. Some people played the Benoni against knight f3, but
yeah.
that also ran into some trouble.
Yeah,
And
that's a bit too much, perhaps. Yeah,
I think,
I've done it myself, but yeah, it's
yeah. And I've also played Benoni. It's fantastic opening, but
yeah.
theoretically, also with the engines nowadays, it's maybe a little bit more dubious. But I feel like the Ragozin is getting some sort of revival, and
Yeah, middle ground in a way. Yeah,
yeah, and it started at the top level, where people have been playing it already a lot. But
yeah.
I see it now slowly coming more and more to amateur level as well.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, obviously I've noticed it at elite level, and I think, if I'm not wrong, kind of the burst came after it was Carlsen's intended repertoire and a choice in his match against Anand in 2013.
Mm. Yeah.
So that was his prepared kind of repertoire. Yeah, I mean Nimzo and Ragozin.
Yeah.
And after that, people started using it on a more regular basis. And basically, in the last few years, that he has really, I mean, even since then, he has exploded in popularity. And yeah, of course, I mean, it's a line that offers chances. Unfortunately, there are some forcing lines and lines where white can actually kill off the play. For example, if you remember just now the candidates, the game Sindarov Giri, when he
Yeah.
played this really safe line where white can first of all repeat moves early on if he wants to,
Yeah.
but then also he can get this very safe technical position where he's pressing without like basically a two results game.
Yeah.
And he pressed Giri for more than 100 moves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, I mean, but I think it's normally the problem of any opening. I don't think there is an opening where white cannot choose such a line. Yeah, I mean, it's modern theory as it is, and black players just have to accept that. Okay, if white wants to make a draw, then let them make it a draw, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if they go for playable positions, yeah, we get some asymmetry, we get some different structures, pieces on the board. So it's definitely an interesting opening, yeah. I mean, I've played it myself. Yeah, I was never too lucky with it. My results were not great. And then after a while, I abandoned it, even though I was, I mean, really well prepared and I mean, I was getting good positions, but somehow didn't click for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It, you know, sometimes some openings don't work out.
Yeah. I've had fantastic results with my Leningrad, and then I
Uh-huh.
made a chessable course on it.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that in the Leningrad, it's much harder for white to steer towards a draw. It's
Yeah. True.
already on move one. You basically tell white, we're gonna fight this afternoon.
Exactly. That's true. True. No Leningrad Dutch, no. People are saying, yeah.
Oh, they're saying that in chat. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
sadly,
they don't like it.
they don't like it, yeah. They maybe
No.
would have preferred Leningrad, but no. Yeah. I was joking about this, about the Dutch defense, I think yesterday and also maybe the previous days that, I mean, when I'm asked about my opinion on the Dutch defense, I like to quote Petrosian, who when asked about it, he said something like, okay, if your opponent wants to play the Dutch defense, by far the most important thing you must do is never try to stop them. So yeah, that was his opinion on the Dutch.
Yeah.
But okay, I mean, obviously it's a fighting opening, not very popular nowadays, but I mean, especially at lower levels, you can play pretty much about anything. So,
Well, that and also the engine still approves it. Still says
uh-huh,
it's within the boundaries, within the
uh-huh,
limit.
uh-huh,
But what I find very funny is that 20, 30 years ago, almost no one with white was playing the London. And the
true.
reason was because it's boring, you don't achieve anything at all.
Yeah.
Nowadays, not only is almost everyone playing the London, if you ask the engine what's the best move after d4 f5,
Uh-huh,
it's two bishop f4.
really?
Now, if I need to be afraid as a black player
Wow.
of two bishop f4, then I know my opening is still okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked this. Actually, I haven't set the engine to see for best moves after d4 f5. Yeah. But to see the London, yeah.
You should try it out. Two bishop f4 scores very high.
Wow.
I think initially it says something like plus 0.7 or something.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's massive actually on move
Yes.
two.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
still, I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah, why would you be afraid? Who's afraid of the London? Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, yeah. But yeah, London has to be said that it exploded again in popularity because first and foremost, White wasn't getting much in normal openings like D4, like Queen's Gambits and all the rest. Uh, and also the development like engines helped find some new ideas in the London. And then Carlsen started playing it a lot and everybody followed. And yeah, it's what we've got. Like the ultimate patzer opening, as we called it in the past. The London became super popular with everybody.
Yeah, but also I'll tell you a similarity for me at least between the London and the Dutch Leningrad.
Uh-huh.
I feel that both openings limit to a significant amount of the theory you need to know.
Oh,
And I think
really?
for amateur players, that's very relevant. If you
Oh,
play
yeah.
1d4 full repertoire, there's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
openings and lines you have to study. If you
Absolutely.
compare that to a full repertoire, either with the London or on the black side with Dutch Leningrad, it's just a lot smaller.
Oh,
And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we have to acknowledge that we don't always all have that fantastic memory that the top players have. So I think this has definitely contributed to why the London became so popular.
Yeah, it's of course it's a big practical advantage to limit the necessity to memorize a lot of lines and revise before the games.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised about the Dutch because I mean when you go d4 f5, isn't it like that White has a already wide array of options starting from g4 h3
Oh
like and
yeah.
everything else. So
It,
this
it
can lead to quite a variety of pawn structures also and types of positions. Isn't
yes.
that the kind of a practically a bit trickier?
It is trickier, but at the same time, a lot of black's plans come down to the same thing, which is you put your bishop on g7, knight on f6, you castle, and then you play d6, and you're going to prepare e7, e5. And that works against almost any system that white plays.
Oh, really? Even g4, like stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, of course you can take on g4 and becomes very sharp, but normally you can leave your pawn on f5, and if white ever takes, you take back with your bishop on f5, and you still push e5, and you try to open lines for your bishop on g7, and you try to optimize the piece activity. And I think a lot of amateur players enjoy the fact that they play with their pieces, and not some endless maneuvering and subtleties.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. I mean, the Dutch I have studied mostly from the white side, and I've always tried to kind of limit to look at lines like which are more classical in their essence. Like I've never looked at g4 stuff. That's what I'm saying. But I had this idea that it just can be quite different for black depending on what white does. But yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that it's practical. Like you can structure this opening in such a way that you can more or less rely on the same plans and piece movements. Yeah. Okay, we had some. E5 was played immediately, as we said, and white castled short.
Yeah.
So now, rook d8 is still an idea, but now with castling, actually, white freed the knight from c3, and maybe knight d5 becomes an option. Yeah. So after rook d8, probably that will happen. So black then has to take into consideration the knight jumps to e4 and d5. And I assume the easiest way to solve that is by taking on c3. But I guess bishop d6 should also be possible if I'm not blundering something. Just solidifying the structure in Ragozin style. And if, let's say, knight e4, something like that, then just queen drops back to e7. And if takes with the pawn, and black is doing fine here. But quickly played e takes d4.
By the way, I love the fact that chat totally disagrees with me. Even
Totally.
A countryman saying I'm Dutch and I still think it's horrible.
That's yeah.
That's the kind of engagement we're hoping for.
The guy is Dutch and he still think it's horrible. Yeah, well, he's in Petrosian's camp. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So now, I mean, after e4, white has a choice. Yeah, I mean, knight d5, knight e4, knight d4, ed4, like all these moves are options. But I would primarily, I think, consider knight jumps, because what I'm a bit worried about, let's say something like e4, bishop g4 can be annoying, I think.
Yeah, this looks...
So this is a bit tricky, even though, again, you have to calculate, like, what happens after knight d5. Maybe knight can drop back to e3. I mean, what does the queen do? It can become concrete. But black, can just take on c3 first and then go bishop. bc or rook c3, one way or another, I don't know. And then bishop g4, finishing development, yeah?
Yeah.
So
that must be okay for black, right?
Should be okay, yeah. So I don't know. I guess moves 94, 95 should be considered. But again, I wouldn't.
Knight d5.
Knight d5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now where to go? Yeah. c7 is also hanging, so maybe just drop back. Take the bishop, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can take here. Yeah? But this again doesn't look like too much, right?
But the bishop on c8 doesn't have a good square yet.
Yeah, that one is still kind of not developed because these all are taken. Yeah, so the knight is kind of nicely controlling. But can we just harass it with c5? Let's see.
Maybe knight b5.
Knight b5 and some like b6, I was thinking. Just to kind of...
Queen f3.
Queen f3 and bishop comes out somewhere. Yeah, a6 or something, I don't know.
Rook fd1.
Yeah, okay. It feels a bit strange. Yeah, but
I don't know.
maybe. I don't know, maybe A3
A3?
now. Yeah. The knight can be, I mean, becomes really tactical. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the knight goes back, but this looks a bit dangerous. Okay, so knight d5 played, in fact. Okay, so we will see what David has in mind. And things are becoming concrete, yeah?
I think what White is hoping for is a bit of this Catalan advantage, huh? That the position looks innocent, but you're just
Yeah.
one tempo ahead. Black never fully equalizes.
Yeah. But and that makes it very concrete. You have to be very exact to make something out of that
Yeah,
one tempo lead in development, or one tempo lead with the
yeah.
initiative. Because you if you're not exact, okay, Black gets that one tempo in and equalizes immediately.
So, Alex, you're, at least in my opinion, the great expert on or one of the great experts on Capablanca. He must have been great at that, right?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from him, like how it appears like the position is super equal,
Yeah,
but you see with every move, he poses some little problems and the opponent is not quite there yet, not quite there yet, not quite there yet. And you do that, I don't know, several moves in a row, and the opponent cracks, makes a bigger mistake, and already it's tangible.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And all I would have to say that all modern players possess that ability.
Yeah.
Okay, queen d6, that defends the pawn, but not from d8 as we mentioned, but from d6, which is probably a better square because it leaves the d8 square for the rook. So yeah, this probably should be a more comfortable equalizer for Black, I would say.
So knight takes d4.
Um,
But then no. Well, maybe knight takes d4, queen d4, and then bishop c5 maybe or something.
so okay, takes. Yeah, bishop c5. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Black is okay. Maybe c6 on the next move and should be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, somebody from chat, okay, mentioned yeah, of course, I mentioned it. Yeah, Jonathan Connor. Hi, Jonathan. Yeah, I said it in the beginning, best-selling author, and the Anand Files, that's the book I had in mind. Of course, amazing read, one of the best books I've read for a, like for a very long time. I bought it immediately. I had a chance to. And yeah, I learned a lot from the book. Just impressive work of chess journalism, also investigatory journalism, if you call it like that. Michiel, maybe you can tell us more about how that book came to life, because it's that type of insight into the World Championship camp and preparation. I think it's unheard of.
Yeah, no, thank you for the compliments, Alex. It's of course it still feels like my baby,
Uh-huh.
and it is. Um, I didn't have a clear idea for years that I wanted to write a chess book, but
Uh-huh.
I do have a decent collection. I would say back then I had maybe 1,000 chess books, and I think since then I've added maybe another 1,000, mainly
Yeah.
electronic chess books, but that's only since then. And on this topic, I never found a good book. I
Yeah,
really wanted to know behind the scenes
exactly.
and ask the tough questions. And of course, there's the book London to Elista, but
Yes, exactly.
I felt like there was too much hidden, and that the real struggles, the real difficult
Yes.
questions were not asked, let alone not answered. Um, and for me, also because I worked in leadership and now I'm a leadership coach, it felt like very interesting to find out how they would deal with it and how professional it would be at that level.
Yes.
I've always had the feeling that in the chess world, there were still steps to be made compared to some other sports in terms of how to form a team,
Yeah.
team dynamics, how to work with mental pressures, how to keep motivation up. And I think over the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of innovation. One example, for example, is that I think Carlsen introduced this, that he sent his team to a virtual location with a different time zone so they could properly sleep during the night. They were awake when it was his nighttime. And that was all very different in the Anand matches. But for me, finding that out was a real curiosity. And then I started applying some of my chess skills in heavily preparing for the interviews. And of course, a lot of these seconds are used to getting some of these questions, and they will try to avoid the answer.
Yeah.
So you really need to try to trick them. Yeah, if I ask something about a certain opening and what did you have prepared if Kramnik would have gone X, Y, Z?
Yes.
Yeah, then you get nowhere. Yeah, you get some answer, blah blah. But I did a lot of research, and for example, I know that a second had been in contact with Mickey Adams, and then I would check his games, and I suddenly noticed that he played a line that was also potentially played in the match.
Yeah.
And then I would ask the second, and I say, by the way, I saw this game, Adams, this and that idea. Did you guys look at that? And of course, before they know, they acknowledge, yeah?
Exactly.
And that's how you uncover a lot of the info. And I think Carlsen and also some other people have said that this type of book will never be written again because they will never reveal all that info. Now they've been tricked once, and they're even more careful about what they say.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you hit the sweet spot. This is just amazing what you're saying because, yes, absolutely, you need to have this preparation phase really nailed because you are not letting them avoid the answer. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. That probably you also hit the sweet spot with the timing because, okay, that was the, let's say, maybe the pinnacle of Anand's career, winning those matches. And maybe they were a bit too open. Well, from their point of view, from our point of view, it was great that they were that open. Yeah. Thanks to you. And they were not against revealing maybe more than they would have liked to. And yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, everybody read the book, and then they was like, whoa, this is a bit too much. Okay, we shouldn't be revealing so much later on. Yeah. So yeah, that's really. I mean, I think it's a kind of a book that I would be happy to kind of go back to it after a while too, because some things you forget. Yeah, and then you go back, and then you kind of you can follow their logic in preparation, in psychology, how the match was going, the scenarios, and so on and so forth. It's a multi-layered book, I think, because you can learn not only the openings, not only the games, the analysis, but also psychology, also the game by day by day processes that they were going over. Like so many things you can learn from just great stuff. Yeah. And yeah, it's a bit sad, I think, that it won't be written again because I would like you to go and write the book about some other matches as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I would love to say make a series in which you could see how now things have innovated and evolved since then. Yeah. What did Carlsen do different? What did Gukes do different? And
exactly.
by the way, I had a long chat with Gukes on the Anand files. So he read it before his the match he won against Ding Liren. So I would love to write that type of series, but only if I would be convinced that I would be able to produce a valuable product for the readers.
Yeah, of course.
And that's no longer the case. They won't share that info.
Exactly. I was going to ask you this, like, how did you know that they would be open to sharing those things with you back then? And how do you know that they won't be so happy to do it now?
Well, back then, I had the impression, I thought a little bit about this before I started the interviews, and I thought that they would maybe not fully be conscious of the risk. And also, Anand has basically stopped as being very active player. So that also minimized the risk for them. So it was a lot about risk and risk management, and I actually had conversations with some of the seconds on this. Yeah, when they said, well, I'm not sure if I can talk about this. Yeah, I would brainstorm a little bit with them about, okay, before we go into that topic then further, let's talk about what could be the risk and what could go wrong and what I can do against it. Yeah. And one of the mitigating factors that I offered is that Anand would read the entire book and could veto it if he would not be happy. And I think that gave a lot of comfort to the seconds.
Right.
And for me, it actually made the whole thing a very nervous affair, because after I had completed the book, I discussed it with Fishy.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said was something like, I don't have time to read it, I'll give it to one of my seconds. And I said, no, Fishy, they've given this info and you need to approve it.
Yeah.
And then he said, okay, I will read it. It will take some time, but I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And then while waiting for it, week after week after week, I got very nervous and thinking about, okay, but if he's now not just demanding changes, but if he's going to veto it, I'm throwing away 7 years of work. What do I do then? I probably hadn't realized what the risk of that would be.
Yeah, that was a possibility, actually.
Yeah, which had not really occurred to me. And then one day on a Friday afternoon, I got an email from Fishy, and it was something like see attachment. And that was the entire email. And then the attachment was the audio file, which I used to write the foreword from him. And with that, he had approved the entire book. So I was extremely happy. I can still remember that Friday afternoon. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to actually ask you to what parts were cut out from the original work, but it appears that no parts were cut out.
Nothing. No, he didn't make any changes. Nothing. And then in terms of how do I know that the players will reveal much less now? Because I've engaged with them and I've asked several of them. So I discussed it with Anis Giri, with Jordan van Voorhees, who worked both for Anis but also for Magnus Carlsen. I've talked to some of the other Indian players, including Gukesh. And I think at the moment it's not possible to write such a book. And to be honest, it also depends a bit on the personality. So I think it helps if a player would retire or semi-retire. And clearly Carlsen is probably the first one who's going to be next in that line to semi-retire. But I don't think he will see the advantage of opening up about all those kind of things. He's never done that throughout his career. And I don't think you should change your personality if that's how you think about things. Then so be it. So then you need to wait for other players, but that might be 20, 30 years down the road. Who knows?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's a long time horizon. Yeah, it's waiting for them to retire and then be kind of okay to reveal things. Yeah.
I would love to write a book, but then with the real insights, maybe 10 years from now, on someone like Anis Giri.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed how he has reinvented his career.
Yeah.
He dropped to, I don't know, number 20 in the world or something. He got a lot of heat from chess.com and others not being invited to the top tournaments. Even before that, people were complaining that he was only making draws, that he was boring. I mean, if you look at his games, first of all, he did the candidates in a way that normally would be good enough to be first place if Sindarov not scored plus.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. But also, I think we all know the humor he has, how he tries to help the chess world a bit further. He's now become a CEO, started the company with Chess Monitor.
Yeah, yeah.
I think people underestimate a bit the difference he's making in the chess world, and I'm
Yeah,
really impressed. It doesn't mean that if I would write a book that I can really look in his head. That depends on how open he would be, and clearly at this point he's still fully going ahead in his career. It's too early.
yes, yes.
But I mean, for me, he's a very inspirational figure with also a clear change journey. Yeah, and for a good storyline, you need the ups and
Need that.
and
Yes,
the
yes,
downs.
yes. Yeah, no, I think people really, I mean, this surface value and the residual image of him of drawing like, old games at candidates and these kind of things, it's I mean, it's sad because, as you say, he has really reinvented himself. His playing style, his results have improved. He has become much more aggressive with both white and black. He has really, I think, even risen his level of play.
Yeah.
He played fantastically at the Grand Swiss that he won. So yeah, I mean, and also the professionalism he has when it comes to preparation, to taking chess seriously and everything. There is a lot there to uncover. But yeah, as you say, it's way too early because he's still young and he's still pursuing his professional
Yeah.
goals. So it's yeah,
And also his chessable courses, they get fantastic reviews because he doesn't hide anything.
He hides a little bit because I've noticed those things, but he must do that. I mean, he's a professional player. I mean, he said it himself when he was talking about Caruana's course, for example, which is also very well made and in high quality as Giri's and everybody else's. But he said that, okay, you can't really expect a professional who is still competing to tell you really everything in the course.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's right. I mean, of course, it's a professional common sense. Yeah, I mean, you just keep something for yourself, but what it's given, what's said, of course, it's of the highest quality. I mean, they can't really afford to give gibberish. I mean, and ruin their reputation. So yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, he produced a course on the Najdorf, and he plays it himself, and I think he has a fantastic score with it.
Yes, of course, Okay.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Okay, we had queen d6, knight d4, as we said, and now knight d4 was taken. And somebody in chat mentioned, okay, this c6 is bad because it loses the bishop. Yeah. But bishop c5 cannot be played, as we said. But actually, Felix took on b4. Yeah. So now, okay, the idea is, okay, if you move the knight somewhere, then after queen d6, cd6 would be a kind of a weakening. So I would expect knight f5 should be played, or take on b4. Yeah, and after queen d4, now to avoid this trick, maybe just dropping back, playing c6. Looks a bit, I mean, stale. Yeah, but let's see. Let's see how it
Can we
develops.
look at the position after queen e7?
So
because
this one, yeah.
If we can prove something for white, because white is still one tempo ahead.
Yeah.
Then you know that you need to look for alternatives.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, rook fd1 is sensible. The point is that the bishop is still undeveloped. There is some pressure on the c file. Yeah, let's say move like c6, but then maybe queen d6, and some endgame like this can be unpleasant as the bishop is still there. Yeah, and then white controls the d file. Then the pawns may start going forward. This can be unpleasant.
Yeah.
So unless there is some forcing solution after rook fd1, then okay, black should probably look for some alternatives. And it's not surprised that he's thinking here, because that's one option to take on b4, but another one is to go knight f5, I assume. And after taking on d6, to take with the knight, win a tempo maybe against the bishop. Bishop drops back, and maybe some c6. Yeah, because the pawn was hanging. And this also limits the knight, can't go back to d5. Yeah, and
well,
then rook f1.
I was about to say, Alex, I really like the move c6, because what white is claiming is that he's one tempo ahead, and based on that, maybe he can achieve something. But now after c6, white at some point will need to lose a tempo.
Yeah, he needs to go some knight d3, knight c5 maybe, and so on. But that's another, again, moving with the knight one more time.
And that might be just enough for black to equalize, because white needs to lose that tempo.
Yes, exactly. But okay, still, I don't think it's entirely out of the woods. Rook fd1, let's say.
No.
You have to move the knight again. Maybe e4, I don't know.
No.
Now f3, there, e4, and again the bishop is... Okay, the knight is not too happy, but the bishop is probably less happy.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
agree.
go to d7 because you probably lose it or lose a pawn after knight d5. So not entirely out of the woods. So
Oh,
okay, so he took queen b4. So he's probably going for that line we looked at, but probably in a more precise way. Queen d4 played, threat is bishop f7. So you probably go for something else. Yeah, queen e7. Maybe queen a5 is a move to defend that, and then maybe go bishop f5 or something like that. But the bishop is still a bit a problematic piece. Yeah, it has the open diagonal, but not many good squares there.
I mean, this is for me this Catalan advantage we were talking about.
Yeah, it's like not quite there yet, and this is quite in Felix's style. Yeah, because he likes these technical positions, technical manners, how to play the game. So yeah, now we basically, and also not a very enviable situation for David, who, as we know, is back lagging in the match by 1 point, and having this position to kind of defend patiently with black with really no chances to take over is not the kind of happiest approach, but that is what it is. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, this reminds me, Alex. You've made a fantastic video, and if people haven't seen it yet, on your YouTube channel, which in
yeah,
general I would recommend, on
yeah,
Karpov.
thanks.
You
Yeah,
you did these on the method, which I think is
yes,
also a really great course. But everybody needs to know for themselves if they want to buy. But
yeah, sure, of course.
I can strongly recommend it.
Yeah,
But
thanks.
and I'll get back to it in a second. But that game of Karpov, I think there's a game Karpov Timon, and
Oh
you
yeah,
and you see every move Karpov improving his piece a little bit,
yes,
and
yes, yes.
Timon it's almost like a snake struggling. And actually, I've discussed that with Felix, and
Yeah,
based on that, he started studying a game collection of Karpov,
nice, nice, nice.
all his games. But again, if people haven't seen it, I can strongly recommend the two videos that, or maybe even more, that you made on the method, in which you did what I would call a bit guess the move.
Yeah, in
On
a way, yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's like
on
the
Karpov
game
and Capablanca.
analysis. Yes, yes. Game analysis, like how to learn to properly analyze a game by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and
went back to E7, in fact. Okay.
he's going back to e7. Okay,
Yeah.
this was the position we were just
We
looking at.
looked at, yeah, now rook fd1 because rook d8 is actually a threat. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to kind of attack, so rook fd1 makes sense. And Jonathan from chat asks, when we were speaking about writing a book, he says, what about the book on Levon Aronian?
Oh, yeah, I would be more than happy to. I would just be afraid about one thing,
Uh-huh.
is that while I would interview Levon, I wouldn't know any moment during the interview whether he's serious or whether he's joking at me.
Yeah, you can never guess with him, you
You
know.
can never guess with him, and then it becomes so hard to write a proper book.
Yeah.
But he's a fantastic character.
Yeah, sure, sure.
And I think if you would write a book about him, it should not only be about just his career, but also about his home country, and then the move to the US and how that has impacted him, the tragic death of his first
Yes,
wife,
yes.
a lot of things that have happened
Yeah, a
in
lot
his
of things, a lot
career.
of things.
Yeah,
Oh, he had a very colorful life. I mean, before the US, he was living in Germany, then he
yeah,
moved back to Armenia, and then he went
yeah,
back to the so it's kind of, yeah, very, very I mean, rich life, yeah. And
yeah,
his chess, I think it shows it too, yeah. He
yeah,
plays a very, very rich chess. And in a way, I think lately, I think he said it even himself that okay, he kind of felt maybe liberated that he's no longer in contention for the world championship. He's not trying to qualify. If it happens, it happens, but he's not like it's not the I mean, the highest goal of his career to qualify for candidates, win candidates, and so on. And he has kind of reinvented himself because he started to play new things. He started to show some novel ideas in the openings. He started playing openings that he wasn't playing before. So I think he found like a new joy
yeah,
in playing in chess. Okay, also as you said, new wife. Okay, family also. He has a
yeah,
child.
yeah. Young
So
child, a lovely dog, I think.
Yeah, he has also a dog, Ponchik. Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
called. So yeah, I'm happy. I mean, he found this. I mean, he was always like a happy person. He had this joie de vivre, as the thing they say it in French, that he always had it with himself. But okay, now it's also nice to see it also in his chess,
Yeah.
with new ideas, new openings. Yeah. Okay, rook fd1 played, stopping rook d8, and now let's see how David solves the problem of the bishop. Yeah.
Now, coming back to guess the move, Alex,
Uh-huh.
and writing chess books.
Uh-huh.
I have a bit of a problem with a lot of chess books that have been published recently.
Yeah.
I feel that people sometimes put games in ChessBase, and then you have this chart which shows where the evaluation changes a lot.
The chart. Yeah, I know it. Yes.
And then they immediately go to that position, and they use that as a diagram in the book. They put the engine solution in
Okay.
there, and they put a question there.
I didn't know they do this, but okay, good to know.
Yes. And it really deteriorates the quality of the book because it's not human anymore. And it's often written like, oh, top player X missed here this big opportunity or something.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you start interviewing them, and I do that, as you know, during data, it's almost never that they completely missed it.
No, it's never that.
It's like at the end of the line, they didn't see a certain move.
Yes.
Or they did see this line, but there's a side line
Exactly.
where they were worried about, which is not even discussed in that book.
Exactly.
And a lot of these books are around improvement or strategy, and they tell you to become a better chess player. Well, actually, I think one of the biggest ways to make improvement is with guess the move, like you described in the method. And if people want to know more about that, then go to your site. But I think guess the move is basically you put a piece of paper over a game collection, preferably annotated by the player himself, or if no longer alive, you take, for example, your book, Capablanca, fantastic material, it can also be online games. I think you can even take Felix games and do guess the move yourself.
Any strong player, in fact, any strong player.
Yeah. And then after you've done that, you can go through the recap. But first, you take one of the sides and you really try, like you say, to feel the move. To calculate.
Exactly.
And I believe this is better than most of the chess improvement books.
No, that's I mean, that's the as you said, that's the core of my method. Like when I explain it there, is like you have to go experience the emotions, experience the calculation, try to see the position as if you're playing yourself, if you really want to improve, because it has to go through your own filter. I mean, if you just see it in an example somewhere, okay, he missed that. Okay, he missed it. Okay. And then you think these guys are patzers because they miss, I don't know, 2-move tactics or something. But as you said, it's never like that. It would be naive to think that these people miss those simple things. Sometimes it happens, yes, but it's so rare. It never happens. It's always something buried inside. And now we also can go back to this problem of honesty. How much they want to reveal, because you can ask them like, okay, you missed this tactic or whatever, and sometimes they're not too willing to say what they missed. Like, it can be too deep. Maybe they don't want to bother. Maybe they think it's too complicated for the audience. Maybe they don't want to show their weakness or whatever it is, and they will never tell. So I mean, I remember just recently I was going over some random at some point. There was this game 10 from the Kramnik Topalov match in Elista. And okay, the game was kind of sharp, and Topalov at some point misses what looks like a 2-move tactic or something like that, like losing a pawn and later losing the game. And then in the commentary in ChessBase, it was written like somebody asked him at the press conference or something, what did he actually miss? And his reply was typically, kind of concealing. He says like, no, I missed something a bit deeper, but it doesn't matter. And it doesn't help you much. Like, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters to people who want to try to understand what's going on in a World Championship match game. But
this is why I think if you apply guess the move on games that Felix plays,
Yeah.
and you do it very simple. You go to his YouTube channel and you check which games he's done a recap.
Yeah.
Which is probably already 40, 50 games.
Yeah.
And you just take the first one. You look up the game in the weekend chess or in chess base, and you do guess the move yourself.
Yeah.
And this, like you say in the method, this can be 6, 8 hours. Sometimes you need to do it twice or 3 times.
Yes. You have to do it several times. That's true.
Yeah.
To get a better impression.
Yeah. And then you look at the recap, and you really distill learning points. Now, if you do this, maybe not for all 40, 50 games, but if you do it for, I would say 15, 20 games,
massive gains,
you will see the results.
Yes. Absolutely.
And at least
we are blessed nowadays, in fact, that we have these recaps and people are fairly honest in them. Yeah. And they can give you their honest opinion, what they saw, what they didn't see, and you get really a direct feedback from them. Okay, we had just how we got to the position at the board. Okay, we explained it. Okay, after knight white took with the queen on d4, threatening bishop f7, and after queen e7, rook fd1 was played. Okay, and now the idea is to stop rook d8, and now black is thinking, okay, how to solve the problem with the bishop on c8. Yeah, okay. Chess Owl, yeah, thanks for your kind words. We are glad that you like the coverage. And the match is okay. Another question: Julio Mendes, who's winning the match? Well, Felix is leading 2.5, 1.5. This is the first game of the match, of a 6-game match, and yeah, so that's where we are right now.
So, Alex, from an instructive point of view, I want to ask you the question that many people should ask themselves a little bit more during the chess game. Black is the play here, but if white was the play,
what would white do? Yeah,
what would white do? Let's figure that out.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the position, white has a really good pressure. Yeah, his pieces seem well placed, but then how to continue, right?
Yeah.
And normally, like if you see the pawn structure, we have like 4 against 3 for white on the king side, which is normally an indication that you should advance with your pawn majority there. Even though in these positions, especially if black has already some c6, b6, sometimes minority attack can work too, but here that's pretty far. Yeah. So, I mean, the ideas that come to mind for me, one is to start advancing, and the other one is actually to relocate the bishop to the long diagonal maybe, or just drop it back to b3, so to enhance the pressure on the c file. So this is a very good point, because even though white is doing like really well when it comes to being coordinated and mobilized, there are no direct threats for white. Yeah. White in a way reached the apex of the build-up. Yeah, all the pieces are great, but then what next? And black's position being without weaknesses is hard to attack. Yes, there is this temporary advantage of the development advantage. Yeah, but black can maybe go b6, bishop b7, maybe c5. Yeah, and white needs to kind of find a way in which, however black plays, to keep having some sort of an initiative. Yeah. To keep posing these small problems.
Or play like Karpov was always doing with white. He would maybe not threaten anything, but he would keep frustrating black on and on and on.
Exactly. Yeah. So such a move can be a move like h3, for example. Yeah, which is useful. You open a loot, but you also take away the g4 square from the bishop. Yeah, just slightly improving the position and limiting black's
but it can even be a move like queen f4, just to prevent the bishop coming out.
Yes, covering f5. Yeah, and the queen gets steps away from the d file, target c7. Yeah, that's also a very useful move. a3 can be a useful move. Maybe b4 at a later stage. And as we said, white has a pawn majority on the king side, but black has a majority on the queen side. So some point black may want to advance. Yeah, so a3, b4 can kind of stop it. Yeah, further back.
Yeah.
So there are all these small improving moves. Okay, c6 play. This is the move we actually suggested earlier when we discussed the position. And here, I mean, our line continued with queen d6. Yeah, trying to exchange queens and then double with the rooks on the d file. But since David played it, he probably, I mean, he must have seen kind of a way to continue here with black. Yeah.
Well, maybe after queen d6, you can go queen g5.
All right, that's possible too. And then the bishop, if black bishop gets to h3, it's a comfortable square. Yeah, you can play g3, but the bishop is already developed. Rooks are connected, and black solved opening problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possible move. I don't know if f4 is any good. I mean, just to keep on playing a tempo basis, you know, maybe then continue with e4 and start advancing the majority. But I don't know, still something to. I mean, black is not entirely out of the woods, even though I would expect. Okay, David spent 10 minutes on c6. So he must have seen something convincing for him how to get out of those woods. Yeah.
Yep.
So now, yeah, okay. I mean, the queen d6 is one move, obviously, but there is also now after I think c6. I mean, immediately bishop b6 wasn't good because you can take and take on c7, and b7 is also hanging. So queen a2, queen b7 loses a pawn. But after c6, bishop p6 becomes a threat simply because that pawn is not attacked anymore. So that's one idea that white needs to think about. Queen d6, apart from attacking the queen, obviously it was also aimed at avoiding that bishop e6 move. So let's see what Felix now comes up with. This is a position he pretty sure enjoys, no risk, slight pressure, and he will find ways to increase the pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find something else than queen d6.
Yeah, it's because bishop e6 is a serious threat. I mean, if black manages to exchange bishops, connect roots, it's immediately
Yeah,
very.
sometimes a7 is still hanging, but
Yes, in a sense can hang, but normally okay.
e6 or bishop f5 also here, and
Yeah,
black
rook
should
left d8.
be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So um,
the question is, instead of queen d6, if you can double here on the d file.
okay, we have a question from chat. What about setting up pawns with h4 g3? Yeah, that's weakening, obviously, and we said, as we said, the point is that white's main advantage is the problem of the development of the bishop, and you just put your pawns h4 g3. You just give up like light squares, which I mean the bishop can use. So in that respect, as we said, h3 is much better because it takes away another square from the bishop. So that's, I mean, let's say the better way to put the pawns h3, maybe in an endgame g4 also, all the time trying to limit the mobility of that bishop on c8. So yeah, I mean, just how, yeah, that's a common kind of question, like where to, I mean, we know the rule: when you have a bishop of a certain color, you place your pawns on the other color. So here you have a light squared bishop, yeah, and you want to put them on dark squares. But there was a very nice game by Karpov, incidentally. I think it was about against Ullman. Was that okay? He had, let's say, a light squared bishop, but he started putting his pawns on light squares to limit his opponent's light squared bishop, and at the same time that did not limit the activity of his own bishop, because that bishop was already an active diagonal. So what would mean in this situation would be, let's say our bishop is already active on the a2 g8 diagonal, and now I'll just put the pawns like randomly, so just to prove the point. Just I mean, imagine now the pawns coming like this, yeah, or even let's make it even more like kind of drastic. Yeah, so you have all the pawns on light squares. Okay, let's put them like this, which theoretically should be bad because you have a light squared bishop, but your light squared bishop is super active already, and you're using your pawns to limit your opponent's light squared bishop. So this is what Karpov did in that game. If you can look it up, it's a very instructive game. I think it was against Ullman, some French defense. And this is like how you kind of find the exception to this rule, yeah, that you should put them all in dark square so they don't limit the mobility of your own bishop. Yeah.
Alex, just for our chat and for our listeners,
Yeah.
I want to point out that you just shared a piece of wisdom that I notice many strong players have compared to amateurs, which is of typical patterns, typical motives. They have like a flashcard. They have an example in their memory.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was earlier this week, the game David lost to Felix, where he could immediately after the game said, "Oh yeah, but this also looks like the end game between Gukes and Erigaisi, Arjun." Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And I can only recommend to amateur players to, when you see these instructive moments,
Yeah.
create your own database of positions and go
Yes.
over them every now and then.
Yes.
It will help you tremendously during middle games and end games.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they give you kind of a lighthouse, have like a lighthouse effect in which direction you should go. If you know something for certain that is good or bad, you know whether you should strive for it or avoid it. And that will, I mean, influence your decisions in the middle game, let's say, if we're talking about an end game idea. Yeah. Yeah. And this is how, like, yeah, that's true. Strong players, I mean, they've studied a lot of chess and historically, and you know, as you study like the games from history, you pick up all these positional motives, strategical ideas, setups, fortresses, like all sorts of practical knowledge that you never know when you're gonna need, but they do that knowledge does crop up when you actually need it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I think strong players, they use their memory for a lot more than just openings.
no,
They
no,
have
it's just
like,
a lot of things. A lot of
yeah,
things you collect along the years. It may appear chaotic at times. You study this, you study that, you study that, but you know, somehow in the mind it settles down, and when you know it, yeah.
this is also the reason, like you said, it takes time to settle down. Why, if you work hard on chess, it usually takes 6 to 12 months before you see it back in your results. It takes time before the new knowledge
Yes.
integrates with what you know already.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that's true. Okay, Alessandro Pelagatti. Okay, queen d6, but and yeah, b4. Yeah, b4, that depends, like to attack like the minority. It's a tricky decision when to make. I would say that the most important aspect about it is whether you can achieve one of the two objectives. One is to, let's say, stop black from activating their own. So I'll just again set up the position, let's say something like this, okay? And provided you have control over c5, a5, so there is no counterplay with a5, ab, and the rook is coming, or you weaken your b4 pawn. That's one idea, yeah. And the second idea is if you can actually create a weakness there. Let's say I'll again make it some for the sake of the, argument. Let's say you manage to create a weakness there, yeah. And then again, it's kind of a weakness, and it makes sense. I mean, this advance on the whole, like let's say b4 and a3, this can work provided that you have control over the position. Like there was this very famous games, for example, when let's say a knight lands on c5 and black is completely paralyzed on the queen side, you have already maybe advanced in the center like this, talking about an endgame, yeah, and you're pushing on both sides of the board, then it usually works. But if you just want to push for like pushing sake and they create counterplay, or you weaken your pawn structure there, or your pawns, then it makes little sense to embark on this minority attack. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, you can. It depends. That's why you should weigh in the factors. Like, have you done more harm than good? Have you actually helped them or not? That's why it's like sometimes don't forget the minority attack can actually end up in like freezing the queen side like this. Yeah, and then if you have a light squared bishop, this is amazing because these are always weak. You want to maybe one day go and attack them, and there is no, black cannot really create a passed pawn here. So that can also be a kind of a goal with this minority attack. So again, it's a complex decision, yeah, how to go about it, when to go about it, but these are more or less the guidelines, yeah. You
But
can follow.
let's for our audience try to make it concrete.
Yeah.
So b4.
Here, yeah.
Yeah. Let's say bishop e6.
Okay.
And I don't know, do you want to try b5 here or bishop takes e6? I think bishop takes e6 is nothing, right?
Yeah, probably, because I mean, okay, now you have to go a4, but now I think without bishops, it's easy for black to defend whatever happens on the queen side. I don't know,
Maybe a6.
Yeah, a6, a5, maybe we have achieved something, because now, okay, we can maybe start pushing.
Maybe a5 instead of a6.
Yeah, a5 makes more sense, in fact.
Yeah.
It would be better because, okay, if b5, then yes, black gets this passed pawn, which is very
Yeah.
good for him. And if you don't take, he will take, I don't know, h3. He will take, and then you have something to worry about on the queen side as well. Yeah, okay, this
Yeah,
one's,
and
but okay,
b7.
maybe rook a7, rook a8, and you have a weakness there as well. And yes, black kind of now already has a passed pawn. Our own majority is harder to advance because that would weaken the king. So this is not what you want to do. So that's why I think, I mean, if this is to work, White should exchange queens and keep the bishops on.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, these are general considerations. Now it's more urgent for White because what to do against after, I mean, with bishop e6. That's the main
And if we
question.
play queen d6 here?
Yeah, this is our move, queen d6. And well, so far we didn't find a convincing way for black.
Let's say we take on d6.
Yeah, takes, yeah. And then again,
Bishop f5.
bishop f5 and rook d8. Yeah, that's what we were saying. And
Yeah.
you can't oppose. But maybe this is fine. Okay, maybe rook e8, maybe get the king somehow. And but don't know. Maybe black needs to be a bit patient, and in a few moves they will equalize. But now ideally I would like to go f3, 4, but e3 is weak, is hanging. I mean, because I don't think, let's say, this is much. I don't know, check here,
Yeah.
bishop f7. I don't think this is much because I think black is really.
No, and it's maybe not even forced. Maybe maybe you could even have gone back rook e8.
Here you mean, yeah? Yeah, even that, yeah, true. So this, I mean, I would like to play f3, but I can't. So maybe black is kind of just in time because, like, again, white is fully developed, but not quite there. Maybe, okay, I can just start with king f1, king f8, king e2, king e7. But now already rook d8. No, it's not all already, not all still a threat. Maybe I can go f3 now.
Bishop g6 or f6.
Or f6 maybe, yeah. No, maybe bishop g. But thing is, like, it gets maybe passive, yeah.
And now rook d8,
Rook d7.
but I'm not, yeah. Rook
No, rook
d8.
d7, probably no.
Yeah.
No, and if f6, e4.
Yeah.
And then again,
Also problem. Yeah.
Yes, problems, yeah. So a bit tricky, yeah.
But I think this is the type of position where Felix calculates all these lines.
Yeah, for sure.
Because 9 out of these 10 lines result in nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
1 out of the 10 results in something, hopefully.
Yes.
And people should not mistake, this is hard work. If you try to play it intuitively, it will not go well. It is very concrete calculation.
Yes. Yeah, people often think that, okay, there's nothing to calculate here, but in fact, there's a lot to calculate here because you have to find that one line which maybe promises you something, because everything else is nothing immediately. Yeah. So, and then you need to have good calculation skills for this. Yeah, when I had David Howell on the stream in round 2, he actually said this himself, that to be a good endgame player, you have to be a really good calculator, because in an endgame, there are many options. and a lot of them would lead nowhere. And in order to find that line which gives you chances, winning chances, and so on, you have to actually be able to sift through all these lines, and you need to calculate well and precisely to find the moves that give you those chances.
Yeah.
So,
I think Carlsen is a fantastic calculator.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I think Karpov is often underestimated how well he calculated.
No. He was an amazing calculator. I mean, all these players who have excellent technique, they're excellent calculators. You can bet on that.
Yeah.
And okay, all elite players have that, so they're all excellent calculators. But even for example, he also gave the example of Keith Arkell.
Mm-hmm.
You know him, yeah? I mean, he's a English Grandmaster, and he has this excellent technique, okay? And he always seems to win these Carlsbad structures with white, minority attack, and he always squeezes water from stone and wins. And even though he's kind of over 50, no, I mean over 50, maybe many years over 50, I think, maybe even over 60, I'm not sure. I can't really say, but he still has a good technique because he calculates really well in these technical positions, which does not really require very long calculation very often, but it requires a short calculation of a lot of lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he calculates this a lot of lines, like in this position, he would check, okay, queen d6, he would check a3, he would check e4, he would check f3, f4, I don't know what else, bishop somewhere. And but he wouldn't check them for very long, like moves ahead. He would check a few moves, he would evaluate, okay, this is nothing, then the next one, and one will be something. And that's what he would play.
Yeah.
And that's how he still has good technique.
Let's check the chat.
Yeah, I had a question for you. Are you still playing tournaments in the Netherlands?
No, I haven't played for a while. I want to start playing again. Maybe the end of the year, who knows?
Nice.
The problem has been first there was family. My dad was long-term ill and then passed away, so I took care of him, and that was like 2 years. And then after that, I had to recover from that situation. Now I'm getting to the moment that I'm starting to study chess again.
Nice.
Of course, nowadays, if you want to play at a decent level, you need to have some sort of opening repertoire, which is not that easy. And I've discussed this with several young youth players. I say, one day you'll be older, so you better practice your openings now, because now it's much easier to study them, and then later you can recollect, than if you're older and you need to start with a brand new opening you've never seen before. I mean, I never looked at the Ragozine when I was young. And if I would like to play it now, I don't know yet, but it's an option. Yeah. It's very, very hard work. And that's even for a line that's maybe a bit more strategic, let alone if I would want to play the Najdorf. Yeah. Not such a silly choice, because I used to play, for example, the Rouser. So I'm familiar with Sicilian structures. But still, to study the Najdorf with all its theory, if you've never done it before, it's tough. So that's what I'm working on. Meanwhile, advising young players that mix up your opening, study a lot at this moment, because when you get older, it's getting harder.
And also the ability to absorb all that new information, which has expanded tremendously in the thanks to modern engines. It's like, wow, it's such a load on the brain,
Yes.
Because for example, I recall my professional years. You play tournament after tournament, and basically every second day you're revising your Najdorf. Every second day you're revising your d4 opening. You're playing somebody, and then it's easy to remember because every second day you're revising them. Every third day maybe you're playing them. So it's easy to kind of remember your theory, even though it's a lot, let's say, yeah. But then you stop playing, okay, then you stop revising, and it becomes okay. You forget things, and then if you have to kind of start revising anew, probably the theory needs to be updated if you haven't updated, and all these things. So not easy at all.
And not only do I forget half of the repertoire, what I remember is all the gaps.
There you go.
And that makes it even worse because also for your self-confidence, and you see
Yeah.
problems everywhere. You say, I cannot play this, I cannot play that. Yeah.
Exactly. Problems. Okay, E8 played. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, he didn't go for Queen D6, but A3. This is the Karpov type of move we mentioned earlier. Yeah, it improves a little bit, covers the B4 square. All right, and pawn is defended now. Yeah. So yeah, but the question is, what after Bishop E6?
Yeah, or even Bishop F5, huh?
Or Bishop F5, yeah. Okay, we'll check both. Okay, but this, okay, just wants to exchange bishop, maybe Queen E5, Rook E8. And okay, maybe this is the idea, yeah? Takes, and Rook here. I don't know if it's much, but okay, let B6, yeah.
Yeah, Rook B8.
Or Rook B8, okay, one way or another. So, and then maybe just control the D file, yeah. Maybe this is something. Maybe not. Rook E7 comes, but so that's one idea that could be an idea. And maybe after Bishop F5, again, what to do here? I don't know if Queen F4 is possible.
But then
No.
you can maybe go back to E6, huh?
Yeah, then we can transpose basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the question is, what after Bishop E6 is the most direct move?
Maybe also after Bishop F5, Queen F4, can you go Queen G5? Is that an option?
G5, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's possible, yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about exchanging the queens and then F3.
Yeah. But maybe we get something similar. Rook E8, E4, Bishop E6, takes, Rook D7, yeah. Even though it has to be said that this pawn on G5 rather than on H6 improved Black's position because it makes it harder for White to advance with the pawn majority.
Yeah.
So in this case, this is quite subtle. But anyway, I mean, if we're going for this double rook endgame where White has slight initiative, it can arise via different move orders. Yeah, the most direct one, I guess, being Bishop E6, Queen E5. What's 4 versus 3? Always a draw. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Did we see a 4 versus 3 rook endgame here in this game? Maybe. I saw one line where it was an option. To versus the F7, G7, H6, which usually is quite drawish.
Yeah.
But actually, Felix has made an amazing series of, I think, 3 or 4 videos on 4 versus 3, where he discusses each one separate, so with an A or a B or C or a D pawn. And it's really instructive material. And it's a bit similar, like I said earlier, with flashcards. I would recommend you do not watch them once, but you watch them like every 3 months, you repeat them.
Yeah, 4 versus 3, yeah, I would be confident holding it. I've done it in practice. So yeah, I mean, I have experience, I have also the knowledge, but when we're talking 4 versus 3, it's different to distinguish whether it's like 4 versus 3 like here on one wing, or is it 3-3 and then the fourth pawn is somewhere elsewhere. So there's a kind of big, I mean,
clearly on one wing is the easiest to draw.
Yes. So it depends when you're asking. Saul, earlier you said one rook endgame 4 versus 3 is winning Capablanca games. Yeah, Capablanca. I mean, Capablanca games were against Yates and some other player, which he won. But those were on one wing, and those are definitely drawn. Even though I've won myself against an international master, exactly like 4 versus 3, like we have here on the white side. Yeah. There is only one dangerous plan, in fact, and also Kasparov lost it against Piquet. 4 versus 3, it was a draw, but Piquet managed to implement this plan and won.
I think Gary was, even 2 years later, Gary was still upset about the fact that he had lost that game.
Yeah, not surprising that he was upset. He should have drawn that one like with his eyes closed, but he lost it. No, on one wing, it's always a draw. As long as black has a proper pawn structure, like let's say f7, g6, h5, or something like that. That's kind of easy. Yeah, Marcus Rager, the previous, he was here 2 days ago, and then he said that also the h6, g7, f6 pawn structure is also quite sturdy. And in fact, I mean, the only winning plan that I mentioned is after g6, h5, is that you get your king to g5. You have your pawns h2, g3, f4, e5, and then you toy with this e6 sacrifice with the rook on the 7th rank, and then you want to win g6 and so on. The lines are quite complicated. Also, you need to calculate the long pawn end games, but okay, black has many ways to avoid that, to draw against it, and so on. But in one particular line, in fact, white manages to win. That's how Pickett won. That's how I won. But normally, it should be a fairly straightforward draw.
So I hope people are taking notes.
Well, I don't know if they're taking notes, but
well, you just gave a very good summary, so people can also watch this back and.
yeah, well, yeah, in the future, sure, yeah. So okay, maybe I should put the position from the game at the board, not bishop e6, which we are expecting, but it's not played. So they're thinking, and obviously, I mean, they want to take it as precise as possible because the margins are very narrow. Black is close to a draw. I mean, he just wants to, I mean, yeah, make it without too many troubles. And let me just see if I can mute this. Can't do that. Mute tab. Okay, I can do that. Let's see if it works. Because I'm getting these various messages and then it just goes in. Yeah, I mean, that's impressive. I think, yeah, Felix is quite confidently moving towards 2600. And yeah, quite a commendable goal. Yeah, I mean, he's young, he's full of energy, he has the support, he's working, he's motivated. And yeah, I mean,
Talking about support, Alex, I don't know the person who's, I don't know his name, who's sponsoring this match.
Yeah, I had the name. I can tell you. It was Klaus Fritsch.
On this initiative. I mean, at first thought, you think he's just helping Felix a little bit. But when you think a little bit longer, I mean, second of all, David, as a professional chess player who was also in a bit of a difficult personal situation with all the negative feedback and the mental crisis, yeah, it's a lovely opportunity for him as a professional player to make some income.
Yes.
Besides that, there's a lot of people in the chat and even more people who view this afterwards. And then we have Felix recaps who also get a lot of views. With one single sponsorship, you basically involve and engage hundreds of people in the chess world. So I think it's a wonderful thing that Klaus Fries has done here. And it really goes beyond just helping Felix.
I cannot agree more because it's like what the chess world needs. Yeah, I mean, chess traditionally has always depended on the support of mecenas. Yeah, like they were calling them. Yeah, like benefactors who would most of the time get nothing out of it, but just wanted to help. You know, but today it's actually possible to both help and get something out of it.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation that I think it's still underdeveloped. I don't think from both sides, both from chess player sides and also from let's say businessmen people's side, they are not it's not being taken full advantage of. Yeah, I think
agree. But there's so many advantages to what's happening here, and it's so impressive that yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, this, I think there's a huge opportunity to develop in this direction, like both for the businesses and for the chess players, beneficial to both because chess is getting massive exposure on the internet,
Yeah.
and it's also a very cheap way to get exposure. I mean, on the internet, you have this stream, and as you said, a lot of people are watching it, a lot of people will watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of links I know from my own business between leadership and things happening in the workplace and the chess world.
Yeah.
I mean, even simple things where in a chess game you prepare for things. You don't want to know how many things in my corporate life I prepare for.
Oh yeah,
And it really helps me.
of course. Yeah, I think once you're a chess player, you prepare. You learn
Yeah.
how to prepare, you know,
You,
and
you
that's all life hack.
yes. You prepare things and you learn to zoom out and to think about what is the trend that is going on here.
Yeah, yeah,
Like in a game, you see a certain trend and you see your opponent becoming more or less nervous. It's the same in the workplace. I see very similar trends
yes.
and I zoom out. Yeah. I don't go from one email to another all the time, but I take a break and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Am I working on the right things? Yeah.
Yes, yes. This awareness. I mean, being conscious of what you're doing in that moment and just helps tremendously. But it's funny that I talked briefly about this with Jennifer Shahade yesterday. That I mean, it should be kind of expected that okay, chess players naturally shift these capabilities from chess to real life. But then you have chess players who are really not very adapt to real life. You know, I mean, they can be forgetful. Okay, they miss
Yeah.
their flights, they lose their laptops at airports. You know, like strange things happening, and I'm not really sure why it happens, you know. Like you
Well, this used to be called the Grandmaster test. If you want to become a Grandmaster, you have to prove that you're clumsy enough.
yeah. Yeah, could be that's clumsy enough. Yeah, yeah, well, but yeah, this I think chess is a wonderful tool also. Like you learned all these skills that you can apply to I mean
Oh,
to
and
life.
chess is quite advanced in using technology and in using AI. Many of the things that we've been using in the chess world, you now also see coming back in daily life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the way we master data, the way we
Yes.
work with things like the weekend chess with ChessBase. There's a great new website called I don't know if you have checked it out, Alex, called chess.ceo. It's like an online chess base. Uh,
Chess.ceo.
yeah,
All right.
chess.ceo. Yeah,
I'll
I
check it
can
out.
I can. It's basically chess base in the cloud.
Ah, yeah, yeah. I've been looking for this for a very long time. I've been tweeted about it myself, and then I was in contact. I mean, somebody contacted me, and they told me, "Look, maybe if you're interested, maybe I can build this."
Yeah,
And I said, "Yeah, I would be interested. Okay, let's see how this goes." And
yeah.
then what happened was a very funny thing. In April, I went to Stockholm. There was this chess party going on there, right?
Hmm.
And apart from the chess party, there was there was also a big tournament as part of it. And at one point, I'm approached by a person, and he says, "Hi, and he tells me his name, and I'm like, okay. At first, it didn't ring a bell, but he says, I contacted you about the chess-based thing, cloud and everything. Ah, you're the guy, actually. Wow." And he
Yeah.
says, "Okay, I'm working on it. I'll get back to you, and so on and so forth." And okay, I don't know how far it's been, but definitely something to kind of
May- Maybe he's
if
related to chess.ceo. I don't know. It could
I
also be competitors.
yeah, maybe.
In general, in the chess world lately, I've seen a lot of innovation. I mean, first of all, I'm very impressed with Lichess. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
purely based on donations. I think they're doing a fantastic job. We talked about already the great thing Anish is doing with
yeah, yeah,
Chess Monitor. There's Chess CEO. I
yeah.
think there's something else
Yeah,
that
there
I
is also Chess Ever, which
yeah,
is
Chess Ever.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the broadcasting app
yeah,
mostly, but they're also expanding in the direction of chess preparation and so
yeah.
on. They also have a
There's of
desktop
course still
version.
chessable and modern chess.
Yes.
with lots of good courses.
Yes.
Forward chess. I think there's a lot
No, there are
positive
many more. There are
development.
many more. In fact, yeah, there are sites and platforms where you can I don't know, train, where you can also prepare based
Yeah,
on online games. They can tell you trends. They can tell you statistics. There are many new
yeah,
websites. It's kind of blooming in this respect.
yeah. The only thing it doesn't take away is that chess improvement is still hard work.
Yeah, exactly. You can have all the tools, but if you don't put in the work, you're not
Yeah,
gonna help you. Yeah.
yeah,
So we have your move on the board, Bishop F5. Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe he was worried about the rook endgame, the rook ending up on the 7th rank. But now the question was what to do about after Queen F4, right? What to do with the bishop? Maybe just drop back to G6. Yeah. Even though in this case the bishop runs the risk of being shut out after F3 and E4.
Can I now gain a tempo with rook d6?
Yeah, rook D6. The bishop is hanging. Let's say King H7. Maybe I follow up with F6 later on, and then you double. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, but maybe I'm not in time. Huh? Maybe you have rook d8. I don't know.
D8, and point is I can't take on F7 at the end because I get mated. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he played Queen F4. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so we will see what Navara's idea was. Whether Bishop G6. I mean, I don't know if Queen F6 is actually an idea because after E4 you have to. No, this should be just bad, maybe. Yeah, it should be bad. Yeah, I mean, even if you go to E6, takes.
I don't need to exchange bishops, huh?
No need to exchange bishops, but
Oh,
also.
even this is strong. Yeah, I agree.
So I
Yeah,
mean, this is like also, but
not
no, yeah, of course. I mean, you spoil the
not
structure, and there is
faulted.
no need to. Oops, not there, not there. He went back to E6. Okay, so now maybe we're getting that,
Yeah,
like getting the rook endgame. If that was what he was worried about,
yeah.
because if you look at it, let's compare. Yeah, this was possible immediately, and now we have. He hasn't played Bishop E6 yet. Sorry, I thought he
Oh,
played Bishop E6, but no, he hasn't played Bishop E6 yet. So yeah, chess
I
reads.
was also thinking, Alex, that on bishop g6, maybe white can try queen g4.
Yeah, rook d7, yeah.
Yeah.
But isn't this like no, maybe that okay, king h7, rook d7, yeah.
Yeah, there's no mate on d1.
No wait. And now I mean you see the point of a3, there is no queen b4 to defend the pawn.
No.
Yeah. Karpov style thing. You play a generally useful move and you never know when it's gonna actually prove useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, queen f4. I mean there is queen g5, yeah. We also mentioned that. Yeah.
Yes.
And we said that this improves the structure after hg because the pawn is kind of stopping
Yeah,
white
but
from
I
advancing.
think white can try a little bit with f3 and e4 we
Yeah,
discussed.
as we said, yeah, f3, 4. And again, we have some sort of, if we followed our line, yeah, we have again some, I mean, version of that end game, when you get like white controls the d file, gets to the 7th rank and has some pressure, even though maybe black is kind of in time, yeah, to go maybe king f8, king e8, start ejecting that rook from the 7th rank. Okay, c5 will be played, okay.
Yeah, still I don't trust this. I think this
No,
must.
it looks dangerous. I mean, that's looks unpleasant. I mean, to say the least. Yeah,
Yeah.
looks unpleasant, and well. So again, it's a bit surprising because he spent quite some time on bishop f5 and queen f4 is a natural move attacking the bishop, and now he's thinking again.
Yeah.
So again, maybe we notice this as a trend of David's throughout the match that he used to be this kind of, in a way, indecisive, we called it, I think, with Marcus Rager, that, you play a move and normally against your opponent's obvious move, you have already something prepared.
Yeah.
You, in a way, kind of, you reply faster. But then you kind of start checking again, you're not sure, rechecking, and like show some sort of indecisiveness. Okay, maybe lack of confidence as well. So normally, okay, bishop, before you've prepared something, you play it out immediately, yeah. But now you spend, like, again, he's spending like what, 4 minutes yeah, on something which he should have prepared. So he rechecking, double checking. Well, I don't know.
No, I agree. It's if we were not talking about a top player like David, but about a 2100 player,
Yeah,
then we would coach this person on how to allocate time in a more proper way.
yeah. But this is
But
a problem for everybody, not just elite players. I mean, you probably read that one, the last New in Chess issue. There was an interview with Roman Vidoniak, the
yeah,
coach of Sindarov, and there actually in the interview he said that in his training they actually pay attention and train for time management and time travel play. Yeah.
yeah.
And later on, Sindarov also mentioned it in an interview himself when he was talking about Bibi Sara winning Norway chess, that she was better than the rest when time trouble began, that because they train a lot for time trouble play and in time management.
Yeah.
So that can also something that can be trained.
Yeah, it can be trained, but I do want to put out a bit of an health warning around Vidonjak
Uh-huh.
because he's having a great success, of course, with Sindarov and before with Fedoseev,
Yeah.
and very much deserved so. Yeah, I give him all the success, and it's fantastic. But if people don't read his interviews carefully, they may mistakenly get the perception that he has some magic formula, which he
Uh-huh.
doesn't. Uh,
Uh-huh.
he happens to be working with brilliant talents,
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
But people should not think that if they uncover his magic formula, that
Yeah.
they will also gain 200 points.
There is no magic formula. You have to sit down and solve positions, like
Exactly.
do your work. I'm actually looking forward. He said that he's writing a book on his, let's say, method that
Yeah.
he's using. He mentioned that he has like more than 40,000 positions used for training. And he said that, I don't know, by now Sindarov has solved, I don't know how many thousand and so on. And he actually said that in the book, he will use some of these positions. And he mentioned some number of around 1,000. So if he
Yeah.
includes 1,000 examples in the book, that will already be massive. And I would be really looking forward to reading that. Yeah, I mean, to understand the types of positions he's using, the directions in which he's working, on which types of problems he's working, and again, the types of positions he's using for those problems. That will be an interesting read.
I'm also curious, Alex, but I'm not so optimistic because I talked
Uh-huh.
to a few players who have worked with him,
Yeah,
and basically what they're telling me is, yeah, you get a lot of positions, it's a lot of calculation,
yeah,
and in a way, it's not different than when we trained with Chuchalov or when we trained with Tugmakov or
yeah.
with other top trainers.
Yes,
Yeah. And sometimes one trainer has, or Ivan Sokolov, sometimes
yes,
one trainer has a bit more success than another trainer. But basically, they're all doing the same.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, that's
and
the nature of chess work. You sit down, you
yeah,
calculate. I mean, basically, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's what I would expect also with a book by Vidonjak. And then the question is, do I really need another book with 1,000
Calculation.
problems when I have already 20 books here,
Yeah.
of which I've solved maybe 5% or even less?
Exactly. Yes. That's true. That's true. Yes. Yeah, that's true. I agree. I mean, the essence of the work remains the same. You sit down and you work your ass off. Yeah,
Yeah.
but basically, okay, they have their own tweaks and maybe some small subtleties they in their work, every coach, but ultimately you have to do the work and make, I mean, you improve yourself by doing the work.
Well, that, and I'm not writing another Anand files, but I'm still sometimes asking the difficult questions to players.
Yeah.
I'm asking them,
Yes.
okay, what is it actually like to train with that person, to work? What do
Yeah.
you do all day? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you measure success? I ask them these type of questions,
Yes.
and then I basically find out that whether you work with Ivan Sokolov or Rustam Kazimjanov or
Yes.
Vidonjak or Chuchalov, the differences are not so big.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. And they can't be really. I mean, it's like that's what it is. I mean, you can't avoid it. Yeah.
Well, that, and I think Rustam Kazumjanov put it in a very nice way. He said, as a trainer, you're already doing a good job if you're not damaging your pupil.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and I think also very good. A good one was by Peter Heine Nielsen. He said that, yeah, maybe I'm the most successful coach in all history, but I was kind of lucky with my students.
Yes.
You get Anand and Carlsen as your students. Well, okay. I mean, you're pretty well placed to be a good coach. Yeah.
Well, also, my impression is that Peter Heine, both with Vichy and with Carlsen, didn't do a lot of chess coaching.
No,
So,
he was more like a second. Yeah.
well, more like a really good friend who understands chess at that level. So he
Yeah.
knows what to say and what not to say. He can help a bit with building or maintaining self-confidence when a game doesn't go right. But the main opening work was done by others, yeah, on a virtual basis, etc. He could compile it, put
Yeah,
it
he'll
together.
compile it. Yes.
Yeah, he could maybe also give a bit of steer or directions to them based on what he saw with the player happening, yeah, what the mood of Fishy or Carlsen was,
Yes.
and based on that he could then tell the team in terms of look in this direction or maybe more tactical or more strategic lines, yeah.
Yes.
But I think he was more in the mental aspect.
Yeah, that's also super important. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Okay, we got Queen G5. That's what we looked at.
yeah.
Also, yeah. So, okay, we are probably heading towards that rook endgame because after, let's say, the exchange of queens and f3, the bishop is still struggling to find a good spot. e4 is coming. Yeah, and you don't want it locked somewhere on g6. Even though
So let's say
I don't
rook,
know if g4 is an
well, or rook fd8.
Yeah, or rook fd8, yeah, e4, and
And
now
now
again
bishop e6.
you go to g6, yeah.
No, e6.
Okay. Yeah, this is a good idea because if you like you contest the d file, this like pawns are not a problem. King is coming,
Yeah,
connecting everything, and it's not a problem at all. Yeah, this is actually quite straightforward, I would say. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so queen g5 we take if I mean rook d8 is coming anyway. I mean, if you can't really even double rook this. Maybe you can double. I don't this, but
King
you're
f8.
probably in time with king e7, yeah?
Yeah.
Unless you sack a pawn, but still king e7.
Hmm.
Yeah, and bishop e6, and it's a draw. Yeah, this is quite, I mean, David style, yeah, on a dang, very precise line, move by move basis, very precise, and you just get there in time, and you make the draw. So let's see. Okay, takes. Okay, if f3. Okay, yeah, rook fd8 is much better. Yeah, you contest the d file. The king is coming to the center, and if e4 bishop e6. Yeah, you don't mind the exchange because, as we said, the king is coming, connecting the pawns, and they can't be attacked. Only rooks on the board. It should be a draw. Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if Felix finds something there, or I mean, I don't know if he keeps the queens with something like, I don't know, queen c7. I guess bishop e4 is a kind of a problem.
Bishop f1.
Bishop f1, and now, okay, maybe b6, c5, I don't know. I mean, maybe even rook fc8 here, rook fb8, and then take on b2.
No.
Even though that weakens the
It's
c6
nothing,
pawn.
huh?
So, yeah, actually, okay, queen c7 played. Yeah, okay, we're getting somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not getting the technical endgame. Yeah, so Felix is still kind of being ambitious. Bishop before. Okay, they're playing quickly now. Okay, let's see where this fourth sequence leads us. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
black at least is threatening something.
yeah, mate in one. Let's see the cameras. I don't expect the blunder of a mate in one.
Kramnik once did that, huh?
Yeah, he did that against the computer. Yeah. Yeah, Chess Owl, thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in tomorrow.
Is David back on tomorrow? Who is tomorrow?
Tomorrow it should be Simon Williams.
Ah, very nice.
Simon Williams, yeah.
Another Dutch aficionado.
Dutch aficionado, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll ask him about, but he's more like a classical Dutch player.
Yeah. Which I find personally a bit more risky than the Leningrad.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, bishop f1 played, and now David needs to solve the problem with that pawn on b7. I guess even dull move like rook b8 and then chase away the queen should work.
But it's hard to believe that this is anything for white.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if his idea is maybe rook d7 if he manages somehow to get it in, and but let's say, I mean, rook b8, rook d7, and now bishop f5. I mean, again, okay, rook e7, then rook c8, I suppose.
Sorry, why did you not take on f7?
When? Here.
f5?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the trick works here, yeah. Yeah, can't do that. So maybe rook b8, rook d7 is an idea, but then again, it doesn't threaten much, does it?
Well, you threaten here to take on f7.
Yeah, apart from that, I was thinking something like queen g6. So
yeah, but then rook cd1.
Rook cd1. Maybe this is still something. Huh? Okay, so maybe black needs something more to the point. Maybe, okay, bishop d5 is possible, stopping rook d7, and the idea is the same. If you take, I go rook b8 and take on b2.
Yeah.
And as long as that bishop is stable on d5, there is no f3, e4, that's good. But that's potential problem. If you get f3, e4 in, then the bishop is off and the c6 pawn is weak. It's gonna fall. So, all right, not sure. Okay, bishop d5 played it. We got that one right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Was it played? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, played. Yeah. Amei Dandekar. Well done. Blohberger endgame virtuosos. There you go. You can learn a lot from following honest channels, yeah, that don't just focus on entertainment, but actually focus on just improvement and giving you the information you need, the knowledge you need, yeah.
Yeah, someone made a draw based on
Yeah, exactly.
Felix videos. Great.
Yeah, exactly. Well done.
Would
Okay.
love to see Blohberger get to 2650. Yeah, I think 2650 is maybe a bit optimistic. I mean, of course, I would love to see Felix go all that way, but there's potential, but there's also the amount of hard work you want to put in.
Yeah.
And then you get to questions like, if you get to 2650, what do you need to sacrifice in your life to achieve that? And once you achieve that, are you then going to be a lot happier than if you don't make those sacrifices and you reach 2600, which is by all means already a fantastic achievement.
Yes,
Very few people who ever reach 2600.
Yeah.
So I'm not denying that Felix has a lot of potential, but I'm not sure. I don't know about him, but in general, for many players who are around 2600, they probably have potential to go further. But the question for yourself is always, do I really want to sacrifice everything?
Yeah. What does that give you? Yeah, those extra 50 points. Does it bring you in more money? Does it bring you in more opportunities? Does it, whatever it is, and then you have to oppose all those potential gains against the sacrifices, yeah, you have to make, because it's getting even harder. Once you're higher, it gets even harder to make progress.
Well, that, but also I think one of the points that I really like about Felix is his authentic style of recaps and explaining what happened during the games. Now, probably if he wants to get to 2650, he should do a lot less work on YouTube.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And keep all the secrets to himself, not be open about his weaker points, not about his frustrations, etc.
And the energy he's giving away to keep
Yeah,
up the channel and to put out this content and everything, he'll need to focus all that energy to his own
yeah,
personal development and chess.
yeah. But actually, I really enjoy the fact that he's doing that, and he's putting so much time in his YouTube and in helping us all. I'm also learning a lot. Like I said, I studied all his Rook Endgame 4 against 3, and I will rewatch them a couple of times again.
Yeah.
I watched most of his recaps. He also had sturdy Sundays where he presented endgame studies, and I love those, and I tried to solve them. So I paused the video and I cracked my head, and when I get a headache, then I put it on back on play.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Felix thinking, okay, maybe we can take a break now. It's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, short break. And then when we come back, we'll see what he comes up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies. It's yeah, unbelievable how these guys. It's another great fight, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see how it goes, guys. Stick around. Welcome back to the live commentary of the 5th game of the match between Grandmasters Felix Blohberger and David Navara. Before the break, we left off in the position after bishop d5, and the line we discussed was that if white takes the pawn on b7, black can play rook fb8, chase the queen away, and then take on b2 with some activity. And probably Felix thought the same, and he actually went for the move rook d2, defending that pawn on b2. Another interesting move by David, rook ae8. Yeah. And that is basically a pawn sacrifice. You sacrifice the pawn on b7, and now maybe the idea is to go rook e3. With the idea that if fe3, queen e3, it's a check, and if you cover with the rook, you lose the rook. The only, I think, loose factor in the position is this bishop on d5, but it's pretty safe because as long as there is pressure on the pawn on e3, whether by the queen or the rook, the plan with f3, e4 is not going to work because the pawn is hanging. So for the time being, it looks like he's managing to solve his problems. Michiel, what do you think?
It feels to me like Felix has lost the momentum in the game. So if I zoom out, it's like 5 moves ago, he was like 1 or 2 tempi ahead in the position. Yeah. There were some chances for an advantage. And rook ae8 is the type of move that can shock you a little bit. And you think, hey, I had planned to take to have a threat to take on b7, and now it doesn't work. And the first thing that comes to my mind in when those type of things happen is to bail out and to say, okay, I'll play queen g3 here, and I'll try to make a draw as quickly as possible.
Yeah, draw is not really a problem for white here, obviously. Once, for example, queens are exchanged, I don't know, takes. And black may even consider moves like f5, for example, to make the e4 break even harder. Even if you manage, let's say, go rook c3, and you go f3, e4 is going to be super hard to achieve because it's controlled like 3 times, and not going to be easy. Yeah. So I think this is a good moment when we will see how, let's say, still optimistic or ambitious Felix is when it comes to his position. Whether, as you say, he will bail out with queen g3 and moves like that, or he will still find some ways to continue the game. Yeah.
But do you also feel that he's lost a bit the momentum?
Yeah, I also feel that somehow it was too subtle. Yeah. A3, starting with a3, I would say.
Yeah.
a3, and then also I think here after queen g5, okay, queen c7, which is ambitious, but maybe he missed rook a8, maybe he didn't, I don't know. But I was thinking, okay, some of those double rook endgames, especially after queen d6 that we were looking at instead of a3 earlier, were maybe a bit more promising. Yeah. Ultimately, probably everything should have, it would have led to a draw, but just to keep the pressure on, yeah.
Yeah.
And here,
this is one of the things that I learned during my Tata interviews, even before I wrote the Anand files.
Yeah.
Is that it actually matters how you ask these type of questions to the players afterwards. So if afterwards you go to a player and you say something like, why didn't you play queen d6? Which sounds like a normal.
Yeah.
They still consider that to be a very insulting question almost. Yeah. So instead you should probably ask, hey, I saw there was an option to play queen d6 in that position. What were your thoughts? Just a little more neutral.
The rewording, yeah, reframing the question.
Yeah, and then you actually get a proper answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they explain probably what they saw, and indeed, then they probably explain why it was nothing. Yeah,
exactly.
And they can also explain 5 other things that were nothing, and then you get a bit of what I would call the storyline of the game as they experienced in their head, and that's
that's very important. That storyline, that scenario, storyline of the game is very, very important to understand, to grasp. Yeah. Okay, so we had queen b7.
Oh, this was played.
Yeah, it's played.
Wow. Felix not
I expect
afraid,
rook
huh?
e3. Okay, obviously we showed the tactical justification. The rook sacrifice is not really a sacrifice, but obviously white shouldn't actually take on e3, which has been played. I mean, there is also queen a7, winning a second pawn. Yeah, and now threatening the rook. Yeah, so here probably there are some, maybe there is this trick of queen rook a3, and then taking on d2, even though I'm not sure what's happening if some desperado moves start coming up.
You can also take on a7.
Or take on a7, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's also simpler. So maybe probably this works for black to get the pawn back after queen a7. But there is also, what crossed my mind is something like pretty straightforward, like rook d1. You just defend the rook, now you threaten to take the one on e3, and you claim that, okay, you have the better structure, this pawn on a7 is hanging, c6 is, okay, theoretically weak, even though now it's very well protected. So here I was thinking whether there are any tactical tricks for black.
Yeah, it's difficult, huh? Maybe rook e1, but I don't see
Yeah,
the
rook e1. I was also, yeah, rook e1, maybe rook b3 for some activity. I don't know if it works or not. Yeah, so now I mean, this is becoming a bit more interesting than the, let's say, the calm first part, I think. So we have some tactical tricks, yeah, which David somehow manages in every game to instill in the position, you know. So queen a7 was played, in fact. Oh, so what's the idea? If rook a3, okay, I mean, you can just go back and it's an equal position, but
Yeah, that's the safe option, right?
yeah. But then it's in a way, I mean, if this works for black and appears to work, I don't know. It's like it's more like a bailout option, like you just exchange and you head for a draw, yeah. Because I don't know, rook cd1 looked like more for to play for something. Yeah, rook e1 is actually, I mean, interesting, even though, I mean,
I
it's a
threaten
threat
queen
of,
takes d2, huh?
exactly, it's a threat of mate. So okay, takes. Maybe this is what he didn't like, because black is active, and okay, this pawn is also, I mean, if you take on a7 at some point, if you move the rook and then b2 is falling, so maybe he didn't think this was much for white, even
Yeah,
though, okay, theoretically you have the better structure, but the black's activity is too big.
you can
Okay,
even get in trouble, huh? So let's see what's here.
yeah,
Here you can also play rook e1, huh?
yeah, with similar ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
Takes.
But then you have queen e3, maybe.
Yeah, okay, taken should be.
Yeah, no, black has no complaints. Might even be better
I was
here.
thinking maybe rook e2, but that looks kind of weird because you go down maybe and then you threaten this bishop
Oh
c4.
yeah.
No, you don't want to do this.
You can still try queen e3 here. You might be onto something.
Okay, maybe queen
Your
d1 then.
pawn up,
Okay,
huh?
maybe queen d1 then. Yeah. But still queen e3.
No,
And if this, yeah. Then you consolidate.
no.
Maybe rook e1 doesn't quite work, but okay, rook a3 played. Yeah, so maybe just heading for some simplifications and a draw. Let's see the rook a3 played. Yeah, this probably looks like they're steering for a draw because, I mean, already the pawn structure is practically symmetrical, no real weaknesses for one side or the other, everything is defended and
Yeah, I guess you could also play queen d4 here, but I don't see what you're playing for with white.
yeah, queen d4, rook move somewhere and like,
Yeah.
okay. basically just nothing to play for. Okay, this is defended, this is defended. On the
No.
king side, everything is defended. So it's kind of nothing to nowhere to press, nothing to more or less do. Yeah. But we'll see which way Felix goes. I mean, obviously, you can also take on a3, take on d2, go queen c3, and this is probably the fastest way to chop off wood.
Yeah.
Even though, okay, I mean, something should be fairly straightforward. Yeah.
We can shake hands.
Yeah, shake hands because this is on a dark square. You can't attack it more than once. So it's.
Although I have to say that in this match, the players have been continuing to find ways to continue the fight the whole time.
I agree.
Very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive, very impressive. But that's, I think, normal when both sides want to play. Yeah. If one side doesn't want to vacuum off the pieces and make a draw, then it's just if you're spoiling for a fight and both players are spoiling for a fight, you'll get a fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes the position doesn't allow it, but probably like here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't allow it, but normally they also previously they go for positions that allow it. So maybe this game was.
I think Felix might be considering b takes a3, but it's. I don't think that a pawn is going anywhere.
No, it's hard because the rook is kind of now where to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, queen c5 maybe, but even
c5 and okay, I don't know, k8, and then the pawn is not going anywhere.
No.
And these are active, so again, nothing much.
Let's take the chat. Anything in the chat, guys?
In the chat, guys? No, nothing in the chat. Nobody believes maybe that there's something here. Yeah, White is bailing out. I mean, bailing out. Not that he was worse, so he's bailing out, but okay. It's like a scenario when, okay, White tried something, Black found the correct defense, and then you have like a natural progression towards a draw.
Well, that, but also I think what happens in these type of games, at least when I play them, is that you search for something and you cannot find it.
Yeah.
And then you play something else and you start regretting at some point that you went that way. And you say, I wish I could go back.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
the other thing was maybe even a little more promising than what I got now.
Exactly. Yeah, it happens often. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens often. So, hindsight is a great teacher, but
well, that's why engines have such a dubious role in chess improvement. Yeah. I mean, people analyze with engines, and it's becoming completely inhuman. And,
yeah. And I think also, I think Peter Heine actually even said this, or Carlsen said it about him, that okay, when you become so dependent on the engine and you get used to working with an engine, and every position, the first thing you do is open the engine, you forget to use your brain.
Yeah.
And you lose the ability to use your brain effectively. And then if you have to sit down and play yourself, you're kind of like incapacitated because brain is not used to that kind of effort anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of the things that I've discussed with Felix, and people who have followed his channel a bit longer may have noticed that he made a difference. Before he used to do his recaps with the engine on, and nowadays no engine, and sometimes we analyze the game afterwards together after the recap. But I think since he started doing that, I think it helps with his self-confidence during the game, because there you also don't have an engine.
Yeah, of course. You're right, and that's how it should be done, because when you do the human way, you improve as a human. I mean, the engine can tell you the moves, but then you have to understand why and the underlying reasons, the psychology behind it, many things which are lost if you just look at the engine, what the engine says.
That, and also the engine can impact your self-confidence. So if after a game you check with the engine 99 out of the 100 cases, the engine is going to tell you you basically played an inferior game. And there are going to be some moments where you missed some stuff that you say,
Oh, yeah.
okay, reasonable that I missed that, was too difficult. And there's some things where you're going to say, oh, how did I miss that? I could easily have found that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, if you don't check with the engine, you might be a lot more optimistic on
Yeah.
how you actually played and the quality
Yeah.
of your play. And
Exactly.
that means that you have a higher level of self-confidence that you bring to the next game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true. But I've seen that it's kind of impossible even to resist the temptation to check with an engine immediately after the game. You know what happened here, what happened there,
Yeah.
what you.
Many people check on their phone, for example.
Oh yeah, even that, even that's faster. You don't even get to your room. I mean, you
Yeah.
just. Yeah.
Or even worse, you try to stay away from the engine, but you play with friends,
Oh,
and
yeah, they tell
they
you.
can tell you immediately afterwards, oh, why didn't you play this? Or yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I remember this last round of the Grand Swiss.
yeah.
And there was this critical game for qualification, Erigaisi against Keimer.
Yeah.
And it was a very complex game and very complicated. They played them really well. And, it finished in a draw, which it didn't suit either player because they didn't qualify. And they started checking, and then I was there, and like they asked me, I think Arjun, no, I don't know who it was anyway. I mean, they asked me like, did the engine actually say something about our game and something? And I told them, look, you played on a really great level. There was only one moment in the whole game where actually Keimer had a chance for a close to winning advantage. And then I told them the move, and they were both like, because the move was totally unexpected. It was putting a
Yeah.
bishop, like bishop
Yeah.
e6 or something, like putting the bishop in to be taken for free. But there were some tactics, and they were like shocked to hear about the move.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but okay, they immediately realized what the tactical justification was, but the move didn't cross their minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like really, I mean, they wanted to know the truth. Engine is the truth, the
Yeah.
ultimate truth about the game. So
Yeah.
they're really interested to know.
Yes.
Yeah, but other than that, they played on a really, really high level the whole game. So it was,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, so we got simplifications. Okay, queen a3 was played, queen d2, queen c3, takes, rook b8, rook c. Okay, actually,
Okay.
queen c3 is now white can also take with the pawn and go c4.
No.
That's also an option. And Felix is actually king, which means that he is considering capture on c3 with the pawn or the rook.
I think in the chat someone said 5 minutes ago, I think White is bailing with these exchanges. And I think that person is completely correct if we look at the current position.
Yeah, but I explained, I mean, I don't think it was bailing out. It was more like normal development of the game after Black found the correct defense.
Yeah.
So it's not that White was in any danger or anything, so they had to bail out.
So I think if you look at the entire match, if you look very superficially at this game, it's maybe one of the least interesting ones. But when you actually start analyzing a bit deeper, like we did, and you try to make it work,
you
suddenly notice that there's a lot below the surface.
Exactly. This is what I said it when David Howell was here, because with him we also had this like fairly dull, you could say, game in the Queen's Gambit decline. This exchange of queens on f6.
Yeah.
And I told him one of the there's this meme when you have a like knife or sword here, and it's like, what is the opinion that you would be willing to suffer for that kind of situation? And I said, like, okay, for me that's that the World Championship match, Carlsen Caruana, was one of the most exciting ones, because on the surface it's like all draws, 12 draws. Like, how is that exciting? But if you actually take a look at the games, the quality, the underlying, what was happening in those games, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So any game, even if you take the dullest game or something, there would be some moments where something was happening. It just did not show on the board.
Yeah.
And just going under the surface and analyzing these things will enrich your chess understanding, chess knowledge. I mean, it will improve you.
Yes, a lot.
So
maybe even more than if you do a game with very technical complications. Because
technical complications are harder to follow because you need to calculate, to be able to calculate to a certain level yourselves to be able to actually, follow them when it's too
but
complicated.
also in my experience in working as a trainer with adult improvers, it's easier for them to understand to improve in their thinking, in strategic reasoning, than in concrete calculations. Yes, it helps if you do some tactics.
Yes.
Sometimes you can, but that's even a more advanced level. You can do visualization.
Yes.
But I'm not a big fan of visualization. If your rating is, for example, 2000, then I think blindfold study end games is way too much. Yeah. Why would you torture yourself so much? But actually, like in the method, like in guessing the game, if you can, even as an adult improver, really improve in strategic concepts, in feeling the position, if in actually picking up certain habits from strong players like Capablanca, or Rubinstein is also a great example. Yeah. So yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It is easier because calculation work is more intensive and it's harder, much harder, because a strategical understanding position is more conceptual and that's easier to grasp. Whereas this calculation is very concrete. And then it requires really the brain to work at a different level.
And I think in my experience, chess improvement as an adult improver, it needs to be fun. I mean, chess is our hobby, right?
Yeah.
If people ask me, should I go for a coach or should I buy a book or chessable courses? My answer is usually do what you enjoy most.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great advice. That's a great advice. Yeah, I agree. Because if you don't enjoy it, you'll drop it. Sooner or later, you will drop it.
Well, that, and also it's a bit of waste of time. Yeah, we're at an age where we're supposed to enjoy our hobbies, and we're no longer in secondary school where we have to do things because the teacher tells us. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so he took with the pawn on c3. Okay, rook a8 was played and g3 on the board.
Yeah, ready for bishop g2, right?
Yeah, bishop g2, you chop it off, and it's basically that's much about it. Yeah, more or less.
Sorry, Alex, I need to step out for 1 minute because
sure.
And I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. All right, so I don't really expect much to see in the remainder of the game. Probably
to share with everyone online that I'm going to France tomorrow, and we don't have internet already for 4 weeks.
you mean there in France?
Yeah, we have fiber cables that go over poles, and a truck hit the pole and hit the cables.
Wow! And they couldn't fix.
You call the telecom company, and you think they will come the next day to fix it.
Wow! Yeah.
But in fact, they say they will come, but they never arrive.
Wow.
And after 2 weeks or so, someone did show up and looked at it, and he said, "Yeah, but I didn't bring any cables."
That's hilarious.
And then yesterday, someone was supposed to come, and he said, "Yeah, I see the problem, but I also need to check something down at the road." And my neighbor said, no, you don't need to check anything down the road. The problem is here. No, I need to
Yeah.
check down the road. And the person never came back. And then I got a call earlier today that the next technician will be available in 10 days. So 10 more days, no internet, no
That's
TV.
efficiency. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
efficiency. Wow.
And I just had a missed call from the telecom company. So that's why I was checking. But they didn't leave a voicemail, no message.
And if you call them back, they won't pick up.
No, I get some wonderful music. So
you get the wonderful music. Yeah.
that's why I hang up and came back immediately to the game.
Right. Yeah.
So, chat, do you have any more questions for Alex or me?
Yeah. Yeah, Huda. Welcome, Huda. So, yeah, we are expecting well.
Is someone accusing me that because I left for a moment, the game is going to be heading towards a draw? Or do I read this in the wrong way?
Yeah.
Who's winning? Well, Felix is still a point up in the match, right?
Yeah. Even though in this game, nobody's winning. So.
And tomorrow is the final game, right?
Yes, tomorrow's final game. And in a way, I mean, we are getting this kind of a situation similar to the match between Nepomniachtchi and Niemann. That was an 8-game match in which Nepomniachtchi won in the first game with the white pieces. And then they were making draws. And then Niemann managed to strike back in the last game, in the 8th game of the match, to level the score with the white pieces too.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, David will be in a similar situation where he will have the white pieces in a must-win situation. So, I mean, these situations are always very interesting. We've had quite a few of them throughout history. Different players have treated them in different ways. And it will be interesting to see what type of strategy David comes up with. I mean, we all know, like, let's say in the World Championship matches, we had Lasker Schlechter, we had Kasparov Karpov a couple of times. Yeah, we had also Kramnik Leko. So different approaches every time. But
let's ask the chat. Will David tomorrow open with 1 e4 or 1 d4? What do you guys think?
Knight f3. He also opened with Knight f3 in his last his game yesterday. So Knight f3 is also a possibility.
What does the chat think?
What chat thinks? Yeah, what we're getting in the opening tomorrow. How is he going to approach the must-win situation?
Of course, the big difference between Nepo Hans versus David and Felix is that here in Austria we're dealing with two gentlemen.
Yeah. B3. Wow, that's a good one.
1 B3, 1 e4, 1 c4 again.
Yeah.
So it's everybody's guess, huh? There's not
no consensus.
Not a clear winner.
Now we also got the d4 move. So yeah. So c4, d4, e4, b3. Somebody's waiting for knight f3 to type in. So we are all covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they are like, okay, rook e1 was played to cut off the black king from coming to the center. Rook c2 attacks the pawn, rook e3 defends the pawn, cuts off the king, and very soon I think they'll
this is nice. Yeah, I think I remember this. Alex, your memory is better than mine on this. But Kasparov played 1 c4. I think this is the match against Karpov where he needed to win in the final game, right?
It's in Sevilla, yeah. In Sevilla, last round there, it was 1 c4, it was Reti, and yeah, Kasparov won a legendary game.
And he really went for the slow approach, right? Yes. He was not in a hurry. What I remember.
No. He went for the slow approach, applying constant pressure on Karpov, who did not manage to sustain it. And even though in time trouble, Karpov had an immediate draw, but he missed it. And and that was, as they say, the rest is history. But Kasparov played 1 c4. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So. But then, okay, if you reverse 2 years prior, Karpov was white. He had a must-win situation against Kasparov in Moscow 1985, and he actually went for e4. We had the Najdorf and then the Scheveningen, and then another legendary game where It was Kasparov actually who won with black and won the title. And Kramnik with white against Leko, he went e4. We had the Caro-Kann, he won. Yeah, so.
I remember I was inspired by the way Gary used to play the Scheveningen. I started playing myself. It was so impressive how he did that.
Yes. Actually, good that you mentioned it because, okay, myself, lifelong Najdorf player, I played the Najdorf with e5, whenever possible e5. But then at some point, I decided that actually maybe I should explore these Scheveningen positions with e6 because they were not very popular. Everybody started playing e5 after Gary retired. And these Scheveningen options kind of started to be kind of not very popular, not very often played. And I studied them and I started playing actually the Scheveningen. And I had like a massive results, like 90% wins or something like fantastic result with the Scheveningen. And then I even switched to the direct Scheveningen, not via Najdorf a6, but directly e6. Nobody was playing the KRS attack. And I was getting additional options there with him not having played a6, the modern Scheveningen, which later I even made it the course on Chessable. And so these positions are, I think, maybe underestimated also, but simply not popular and a good practical choice. Because they're more flexible than the Najdorf ones with e5. And Gary's games are still like evergreen. I mean, you study them and you can play this. Just you can play.
But again, I think in a way, even before you wrote about it, you applied here yourself the method. Because you really went through those games of Gary.
Exactly, that's how I studied. That's what I wrote about. How I studied, that's what I wrote. Exactly. It's what works for me. I'm pretty sure it works for everybody. And I just wrote about it. So it's sharing personal experience. Okay, they are making basically moves, king g3, king g6. I guess they just repeat and that's gonna be it. So kind of a very controlled game, I would say, by Felix especially, not risking, getting to 3 points in the match. And tomorrow, putting the pressure on David, who needs to win to level the score. And there's one actually must-win situation, not at the end of the match, but practically the match was going to end. It was Anand Carlsen in the first match when Anand finally switched from e4. He wasn't getting anywhere to d4, and they had this fantastically sharp Nimzo Indian when Anand was attacking Carlsen's king. But Carlsen, in fact, managed to defend well, and on the counter attack even won. So maybe Felix is fancying his chances on the counter attack tomorrow if David overpresses or he gets a chance, just generally. So definitely it's gonna be a game worth watching tomorrow. And it's expecting a good game. Okay, h5 played. Now I suppose h4, not to blunder mate like this.
I just want to point out, I don't think you want to allow even h4, king h3, right?
No. H4 is played, definitely. I mean, you just eliminate all the pawns and you make a draw. So.
But I think 2 points I want to make on what you just said, Alex. One is, I think for Felix, it will be important to digest today's game mentally in the right way. Because what could easily happen is that you become slightly disappointed. And not very big. You tell yourself, well, maybe I should have played a bit better. Maybe it's this or that. And that is, although it doesn't sound so serious, it can really have an impact on tomorrow. So you want to avoid that mental state. So that's important for him tonight to focus on how to move away from that and look at, I'm on a learning journey. What did I learn today? Where am I in the overall match? Those kind of things.
Yes.
And then my second point is, coming to tomorrow, I expect a very sharp, strong fight. Why?
Oh, absolutely.
Because for Felix, this is his last step in the learning journey of this week. So he really wants to go for it and learn and get the maximum.
The maximum possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they exchanged the pawns on the king side, everything vacuumed off. Now, whether David goes f5, f6 doesn't really matter much. Maybe give a check. Any decent move is good.
I like that. Can we put that in a book? Any decent move is good.
Yeah, I guess we can. Yeah. So yeah, we just okay, move 37. Okay, c5 played. That's also possible. So they'll make probably 3 more moves and shake hands and
Are you watching the camera?
yeah, watching the camera.
Very good.
They are there. Yeah, just as they say, going over the motions. Yeah, going through the motions.
Yeah.
King g3 played. Yeah, maybe f5. Maybe
But again,
f5 played. Yeah.
this is something I've experienced myself as a youth player and also when I trained some youth players. That in this stage of the game, they're almost lying down in the chair and they're like, why does this game not end yet? Yeah?
Yeah.
And they're like mentally switched off and they think everything will make the draw.
Yeah.
And they play almost directly each move and they don't put in the work anymore. And even in these type of positions, things can go wrong. Yeah, you just actually showed Black had a mating idea with
Yeah, mate in one.
A5.
Yeah.
There are always small things under the surface, like we said before.
Exactly. Always something a little bit going on.
And the engine may show 000. You have to pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, always. I mean, that's I think one of the fascination with chess. I mean, if you really get into it and you dig a little bit under the surface, it's never really dull. We call it dull position or dull opening or boring or stale or whatever it is. But that's the surface value. I mean, that's what you see. But if you start calculating, we'll always find a trick here, a trap there, interesting move, some imbalance. There's always something,
Yeah. A couple of years ago in a podcast, I came up with this parallel, this analogy, where I said, if I look at a painting and I first look for 10, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the curator explains to me what the artist meant with it.
Yeah.
I find it a fantastic work. If I look at the painting and I just walk by, and I look for 10, 20 seconds and I read the sign next to it and then I go to the next, nothing special.
Nothing.
It's the same with the chess game.
Exactly. It's a very good analogy. Yeah, very good
analogy. If I first do the work myself and then I hear the player himself or herself explaining their thoughts, then I think it's a masterpiece.
Exactly.
If I walk by and I just check with the engine 00,
nothing happened. Yeah, nothing happened. Yeah, it's the same. Like you get your phone on an app or just go press. I mean, you check the game in 10 seconds. I mean, in an app or it says like, okay, draw, nothing happened. In engine says zeros, nothing happened, doesn't matter. And that's pretty much about it. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. We were just saying, okay, so king f4. Okay, look at this, like check here, check. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work, but it's something happening that you have to see. Yeah.
White is winning here, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you lose a pawn and then white is winning, but it's something you need to check. Okay. Rook f2 actually played. And I think it's an invitation for repetition. King goes back and, oops, wait. King goes back, rook goes back. But, I mean, look, king e5, f4. Yeah. And now, okay, things start happening again. It's not like, so yes, it's drawn, but I mean, you have to apply yourself again. Okay, how is this? Is this pawn lost? Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Okay, can you play rook f3?
Rook f, sorry?
After rook f2?
Rook f3. Yeah, you can play rook f3, I guess. Yeah, chop off everything, yeah. But they're actually repeating, king g3, rook c2.
Okay.
I expect them just to shake hands because it's move 40. They'll just repeat probably, and that's gonna be about it. Yeah. So I'm saying that even here, I mean, you can, okay, they shook hands, it's a draw. So yeah, well played both. Yeah. Yeah, we had a kind of, we can call it a professional game where white is applying slight pressure without any risk. Black is strong player, finds the successful defense, and then the game progresses naturally to win and equalize the score.
Yeah. And of course, the Ragozin is hard to beat. Huh? It's not easy to achieve something against that opening.
No, it's very hard. In fact, it's very solid opening choice. So yeah, David, obviously his approach today was not to risk too much. Okay, if draw, then it's a draw, and then tomorrow let's take it from there. White pieces, he'll have to think how to play and how to approach, but I mean, we'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks, Michiel. Thanks a lot for your insightful comments. I really enjoyed it.
Likewise,
Guys,
Alex. Was great working with you.
Exactly. I hope we have more opportunities in the future. Yeah.
I hope so too. I really enjoyed it, and I hope I think the people in the chat also enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and,
hope so too.
I
Guys,
hope
thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow. Stay tuned.
all the best. Bye bye.
Bye bye.